So yeah, tell me about your lesson.
Yeah, not so much a lesson, maybe evaluation, I guess. But I had a shelter get in touch with me yesterday with an SOS. We have a dog at a foster, and they're convinced that he's like they're making him worse, and they're freaked out and they want to give him back. But they said that if anything could be done with what's going on with him, they'd be willing to keep him longer term. But they just feel like they're doing damage.
Okay.
And it's a dog, so of course I go this morning, which is the next day because I can't help myself. They're also only like 20 minutes away from me. I
Yeah.
also like dogs are going home, and I have project time right now. um and any time between board and trains, I really like having one special thing going. And the dog at the shelter, like, was just a mess, wouldn't kind of come out of its kennel, all that type of thing. Like, he's a lab something, kind of young. But around the house, he's been with these people for I think almost 3 weeks or something now, and they're fantastic. They're doing all the right things. This dog is in his own head, is in a survival scenario 24 hours a day. And I I personally have never seen anything like this, to the degree where I don't think the dog ever mentally takes a break. And it's it's astonishing how bad he is. And like, he's pacing the house 20, like, every waking hour he's pacing the house, he's circling like the island in the kitchen, taking cover. He has little hidden like hiding spots around the house that he'll go
Mhm.
to. But the second he sits down, it would almost, imagine if you caught a white-tailed deer and trapped it in your house. There
Yeah.
may be a time where it gets so exhausted that it
Yeah.
tries to lay down, but as soon as, like, someone shifts their weight and a chair creaks, he's up, and he's eyes are bulging out of his head, and he's going, going, going. So in 2, 3 weeks, they have not been able to pet him unless they've like, physically done it, like, made him, which I had to have a conversation with them about that. And I'm sure people would wanna know, like, what I told them to do and not to do. And I'm going
Mhm.
back tomorrow morning because I couldn't believe, what I was looking at. But they have another dog in the house. It's a young golden retriever, playful, hilarious, like the perfect temperament golden retriever, and you would think this dog would be perfect to save a dog like this. And when I had them together and she tried to play, he went full, "I'm going to escape," like climbing the walls, like, "Get me out of here."
Wow.
And I had to tell them, that no, like, he's not joking, like, that was not funny for him. And,
Yeah.
he likes the presence of the other dog, but as soon as she acknowledges him like that,
Mhm.
like, "Let's go," and she goes to daycare, so she's used to trying to, like,
Yeah.
open dogs up like that, but he took it like a threat.
Ugh.
He chewed through my leash in under a second.
Wow.
Um, you can tell when a dog has practiced this type of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
He has opened windows in the house and has been caught trying to claw through screens, so you can tell that he's done all of these types of things before.
Wow.
Um, the
Do
guy
they know
goes
his
to
background at all?
he was just a stray,
He was a
like, in
stray.
Amish
Yeah.
country, so no one really
Huh.
knows. His right ear is, like, sawed in half, and it healed
Huh.
in, like, 2 pieces. I I think it's more likely that he ripped it up digging through a
Yeah.
fence or something. Like, because when I was out with him, I told them to go inside, and I took him out myself. Um, he would've, if there was, like, a wall of broken glass, he would've ran through it to get away from me.
Wow. Yeah, and that's like very practiced behavior at that point too, if he's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
persistent about
he
it.
just knows to clench his teeth and just take
Yeah.
whatever shot to try to escape.
Wow.
And, like, it truly feels like a trapped bird in a
Right.
in a room, and he's just, like, smashing into the windows trying to get out.
Hmm.
And I like, you go like, the guy kind of, like, has a system where he can take him out to go potty and stuff like that, where the dog will meet him over in the corner of the garage, and when the guy reaches down with the leash, the dog dives onto the floor as if it's a free fall, and, like, stares and like, looks away, almost as like a, "I'll do this if you don't hit me" thing.
Wow.
And, it's it's unbelievable.
Mm,
It's unbelievable. I recorded some of it, and I had them send me videos last night of just like his behavior around the house, and it's I actually don't know what I'm going to do.
yeah.
I don't know if anything can be done. Well, I know what I want to do. What do you think I want to do?
Well, logistically, I'm trying to think because the first thing would have been just like somehow get the dog on a long line and just like get it some space and get it out of the feeling
Well,
trapped. But
I
I
want to
think that's dangerous.
I want to take him, and I just can't do it. I can't do it to myself because I like swore to myself I would take some time off. But yeah, I mean, I told them because they had to switch him. They switched him to a prong collar because he was backing out and chewing through every
Yeah.
other collar, every fabric collar that
Yeah.
they had. I told them
Wow.
I was like, guys, we need to immediately have a backup collar because
Yeah.
if this breaks, you will never see him again. He's
You're
done.
gone. Yeah. Yeah.
There's just no chance.
Huh.
And I probably like I'm trying really hard to talk myself out of it. I'm gonna need to end up taking him myself because I had a dog. I had a dog named Pongo that I did a full on YouTube. This is shilling
Mhm.
segment on my YouTube channel, day to day dog training, a full like 50-minute extensive. As far as I know, the most comprehensive shutdown dog behavioral case recovery ever recorded and put on the internet. And this dog's probably 3 times as bad, maybe
Wow.
worse, maybe five
Yeah.
times as bad, 10 times. Like it's just, um, it's really truly unbelievable. And I can't imagine the dark places his brain goes to, and the people are doing like I'm telling them, I'm like, guys, like 99.9% repeating dogs, you would never have any trouble. They're
No.
very
No.
experienced. They've had a million dogs. They've fostered dogs
Yeah.
for shelters before, and this dog is just
That's not normal.
I
Yeah.
I don't I don't know what to do. Like tomorrow, so okay, something that we talked about. I was like, this is what I need you to immediately start trying to do. And they said that they're game to hang on to him if we can, as a proof of concept, like get anything going. The thing to start is, at least in my opinion, to try to remove as many recurring points of conflict as possible. I'm working on trademarking that. Meaning that like meaning that
I think
like
TWC already did that. Sorry, bud.
no, that one's me. But it's just naming something that TWC just like
No, I
identified.
know.
But like removing as many of those moments in a day where you're approaching him and he starts to black
Yeah.
out. And some of them we have to do, like you have to put a leash on him to take him outside. You have to bring him
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me forget there's something interesting about the way he walks with people that I want to talk about too that's actually really
Mm.
sad. Really, really
Yeah.
sad. That I think trainers would miss too. One of them that like I'm talking through everything with them, his daily tasks and like what they do with him and like how they work around certain things. And they're like, well, we feed him in his crate. I'm like, well, does he like eating in the crate? They're like, that's the only place he'll eat. And you can't
Mm.
look at him. If you look at him, he'll stop eating until you look away. But when we go to put the food in, he's in the back of the crate shaking, like looking away. So we have to have this like shitty interaction at the beginning. What do you
Yeah.
think about that? What do you think about that? Like, what are you gonna do?
Uh, I mean, yeah, I get like I would try to set it up. Yeah, so like the thing I wrote down, which I think is again just kind of like reiterating what you're saying, is that when a dog for whatever reason, like he's clearly convinced that something bad is going to happen.
Yeah,
And his behavior every time he does it is this like self-reinforcing loop because he's like, oh, because I cowered away, I therefore avoided getting hit, whatever it is. Like, there's obviously like also a ton of emotion stacked onto that, but like, just from the standpoint of very simplistic, we're even by like walking into that situation, we're strengthening that behavior.
right.
And so avoiding that at all costs, right? So, like, and I think that happens a lot. Like, I was like, oh, that's actually a good topic in and of itself. But anyway, like then my thought is like, okay, why is he in his crate when you're getting the food bowl out? Like,
Done. Done.
but again, like I'm also
That's
kind of
it.
like, okay, maybe they can't lock him in another room, but
No, 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 no,
also,
no.
yeah, yeah,
That's
it's not
literally it
that
right
deep.
there.
Okay,
That's literally no, that's literally
yeah,
it. And
yeah, just
the
take him
thing
out of the
is that
room.
I do think that most people wouldn't even think of that.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
wouldn't think
Well, I
to
think they don't
remove.
see that as a problem. Like,
Right,
they think it's
right,
just like, "Oh, it is what it is, we just get through these moments,
right,
but we can kind of, like, train around it elsewhere,"
right.
without
Versus
realizing that that's
removing
actually
the
a very
mental load.
critical.
Right.
Yeah,
Removing as much of
yeah.
the load as physically possible. So with
And
breakfast and
this is
dinner,
where it is tricky with, like, you do kind of have to take the dog because with these kind of cases, if you make one wrong move, you can shatter
Mhm.
weeks of progress. So, like, that's
Yeah,
one of those ones where people could be like, "Oh, this is not a problem," and it's like, "No, actually, it's a massive
the
problem, unfortunately."
the only potential for me to not take him is that these people are incredibly receptive and like
Right,
legit and are
right,
able to like
right,
hold a conversation with me about this type of thing.
right.
And this was
But
one of
even,
the
like,
things.
execution is just very difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it has to be so simple. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
just identified it. It's something as simple as guys put the food in before he goes in.
Yep, yep.
That
And
is just
potentially you can
like,
even make that a positive experience where it's like, "Oh, you're the gateway
yeah,
to," like,
you bring him to the crate.
maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, buddy, it's in the crate. And
Yeah, yeah.
this is a dog, by the way, that wouldn't eat pork from hand.
Wow,
Like they're
yeah,
making
yeah,
pork and they're trying to
yeah.
give it, dipping it in barbecues, and he won't touch it.
Wow.
Until you leave the room and turn away
Dipping it
and
in
don't look at
barbecue
it.
sauce.
Yeah, like he literally won't take anything.
No, that's funny, yeah.
Um, so removing two of those instances of conflict a day, breakfast and dinner, we can take if we take 5% off of them by doing that and trying to identify as many of those moments as possible throughout the day. Like, what do we need? We need to be able to take him out. We have to put a leash on him.
Yep.
That's gonna suck. Um, when you bring him inside, I should have thought to say something. When it happened, I was stun locked.
Yeah.
When they brought him inside, right inside of the garage door, the guy goes to take the leash off and the dog dove like all flat, like a pancake on the floor. Like, I won't move, you can do it. Like, I would have said, what if you just keep leash walking him into the house and try to catch him while he's in motion a little bit
Yep,
to
yep.
break
It's
to
like
get him out of that
suddenly
spot
slip it
right
off.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that you don't have to have that interaction where he feels like he needs to die, like just give
Yep.
up. So identifying as many of those as we can is going to be crucial. There was another thing that was really, it's just, this is every dog owner in the world will fall for this, which
Mhm.
means 95% of trainers probably too. But the dog, when you have him on leash, will walk almost in like a right-handed heel a little bit,
Hmm.
very nicely.
Hmm.
Very nicely. Like, he will walk with the guy. He'll walk with the lady. He will not leave that spot. And
Interesting.
they took it as I was like, "Does he ever come into the living room?" And he was like, "Well, I can put the leash on him, and he won't ever go into the living room under his own power. He won't. But if I put the leash on him and I walk him in and I bring him to the bed and I make him lay down, he'll stay here for a long time."
Huh.
And I think they saw that as a valid means of trying to get him comfortable with going into the living room, because just a
Right.
basic, like, look, he's walking with me up until that's not what's happening in his head. I am almost totally convinced that this has to have been learned at some point in his past. He's doing the nice walking at your side and choosing to walk with you as if there is a knife to his back. And I entirely believe that this is all just to avoid perceived
Yep.
harsh consequences. He's
Yep.
not doing this because he's like, "Oh no, this is what I do." He's like, "This is what I do or else."
Yeah, and he's
It,
on a
it
leash,
would
so you've taken away
it
his escape path, and
Right.
he's
It
like,
would
"Okay,
not,
this I'm stuck
but
doing
but
this."
but the reason why they felt like this was a good thing was
Yeah,
because he doesn't try to run away when he's on
yeah,
leash like that. He will just stay at your side, but
yeah,
I don't see that as a good thing. I see that
right,
as him making a choice, as if someone had like abducted my son and was like, "You're going to go rob that bank for me." It's
right.
like, "Oh, see, he chose to rob the bank." But it's like,
Yeah,
that's not an actual choice.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's like being obedient under severe duress.
Hmm.
It's not because he's like, "Oh, I like this guy and I listen to him." It's like, no,
Yeah,
like this is just like you can imagine what had happened to him in the past over this.
yeah. Wild.
Uh, so having to explain to them that you just can't do that anymore. You can't use this borderline traumatic, not even borderline. You can't use his like false healing skill
Mhm.
to try to walk him into things that he doesn't like because he's not choosing to do it. It
No,
looks
no.
on the surface like he's choosing, but I'm telling you that the actual perception of the dog, this is why everyone would miss it that's a dog owner. They would
Yeah.
just feel a loose leash in their hand and go, good. And then a trainer would probably be like, look, I can easily walk him in and he's allowing me to do it without backing up. Therefore,
Mhm.
he must be just committed and confident. I promise that there is nothing about this dog's overall mental state that indicates he has the capacity to do anything confidently. He is doing it like he's a prisoner being walked out to the yard. And if you don't do it, the guards are going to take you behind the building and beat the fuck out of you. So I might as
Yeah.
well just beat them to the punch and just walk.
Yeah.
And it's also insane. I watched this happen too, where the guy was like, "Yeah, like you should see what happens when you step him out of the right-handed position like that."
Yeah, that was my next question.
The dog froze,
Huh.
like he was in a fugue state, like he couldn't move. The guy had to call him back to his right side. Like the dog just
Wow.
in the middle of the yard like this.
Wow.
Un, un Unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's one of those dogs where I'm like, wow, I really wonder what happens, because like Pongo probably obviously had a bad past or whatever, but I think with Pongo it was more like lack of socialization, lack of good
Yeah,
experiences, but like this
yeah.
dog is definitely like, no, something happened,
Probably
very
it feels
interesting.
very strongly that
Yeah.
direction. And
Yeah.
like with Pongo, I had ways in. Like I had dogs. I had his little play biting things, like little things where I could like back then I thought of that as these really clever niche little things. Now it's just
Yeah.
kind of like mainstay. Like of course, but like this dog I have, like there's nothing. Like there's absolutely nothing. Unless because tomorrow the we're gonna go out um and we're gonna put them on a line and we're gonna go out on their very long walk that they do. Because the lady told me she was like, there was a moment
Hmm.
one of the times we were walking and where his tail came up for like 3 seconds. Like,
Interesting.
okay. And I do wonder if they accidentally squashed things. It's almost
Yeah.
guaranteed. Like by
Yeah.
calling him and stuff like, Henry, come on.
Yeah.
Like when he's
Yeah.
like just starting to
Yes.
that's an
Do his
interesting
own thing.
smell. And it's like, no,
Yes.
but we're walking and you walk dogs.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that has to have occurred.
For sure.
Um
And again, that's that kind of thing where it's like, oh, if you shut a door like that on that dog, you're kind of
it's
fucked.
it's
I
it's
mean,
awful. Like you have to fight so hard to get it back open.
ugh,
So I'm in a position where I've got some time right now that, like I said, they're 20 minutes for me. I may just go to their house every day for the next like 3 weeks. Like I just don't give a fuck and just
yeah.
see what I can do and record
Yeah.
some of it. I shot
Hmm.
some videos this morning and just see like if anything. And if it doesn't work, I could try doing like a trial. I'll take him for a month and see if anything moves. Um, but he's just destroyed. A totally
Yeah.
destroyed dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so like with the leash joint, I think that's like you said, definitely something people miss. So like in my mind, so the whole like he's convinced that this thing is going to happen a certain way, and therefore he's displaying a certain emotional state and behavior that um shows you what he's thinking, but also is like self-perpetuating in his head about like, okay, thank God I'm walking at your side.
He thinks it's
And
escape
therefore,
avoidance. He
yeah, yeah,
thinks
yeah,
he can
yeah, yeah,
avoid. He's like
deeply
he believes he is
that he's going
basically
to die.
right.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
things he's doing right now, the stakes are that high to keep him
yes,
walking the
yes,
tightrope and
yeah.
not falling over.
So what's really interesting then is like my first thought is like, what happens if you like kick him out of healing, right? Or like
Right.
not kick him
Right.
out, but like, hey, I'm
No.
just
Yeah.
going to put you on
Yeah.
my right side or whatever opposite side.
Yes. Yes.
And the fact that he panics is so interesting. And it almost so like this is obviously completely other side of the spectrum, but like when we're trying to effectively tell a dog that, hey, this is punishment, you can't escape it. And like they keep trying to
Yeah.
sit or keep trying to down, and you have to just
Uh-huh.
be like, no, I'm moving you over here, like
Mm-hmm.
limiting their ability to believe that they can escape
Yes.
it.
Yes.
It's like he's learned that the escape avoidance so well that it's
Yeah.
almost impossible. Whereas like obviously when we're trying to teach him like, hey, you can't get out of this right now with punishment, it's completely different
Yep.
goal there. But like showing him, I mean, it happens on a small scale all the time with like, I think about it in like socialization a lot of times where it's like kind of that thing of I don't know, the puppy thinks the fire hydrant is this like thing, and it's like, hey dude, and like you go up and touch it and you're like, hey, it's not actually gonna bite you, and convincing them that like, no, this is what you think is gonna happen is not gonna happen. Um, but convincing a dog of that when they're in a panicked state, like
Yeah.
there is a point where they're not learning, where you are just like walking him into the living room, putting him on the bed, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, it looks like it's compliance, but it's completely
Right.
forced, or it looks like a choice, but it's
And
a choice or coercion, so it's
yeah,
not real.
I mean,
Um,
I'm thinking the same exact things because the lady was we
so
were
it's like,
talking
how do
about
you
her.
get him to not panic when you try to do a
Right.
pattern break like that? Like that's a very
So my thought is that you just don't give him a chance to, and this is the lady. Funny enough,
would you just like wait till he stops panicking though? Like, do you like just burn him out that way? Like that seems
the lady we're talking about her golden retriever, and the dog's just like a fucking idiot. Like she's great.
yeah.
Um, but the lady was like, yeah, she would love to run with me, but
Mm,
like we just play in the backyard. I'm not taking up running anytime soon. And I was
yeah.
just like, I got some really bad news for you.
Yeah.
Because I think that when we're out on the line, we're going to step out of his like trauma heal
Yep.
and then run.
Yep. Yep.
Like with encouragement. What?
Yes. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
while he's on the left side
Yep.
or even
Yep.
behind you.
Yep.
To not give him a chance to stick like have like the energy go from his brain into the ground and like root him there. It's like, oh, I'm out of heal. Oh, now she's running. And that's my one person. Let's try to go just to get like the heart moving and like things happening. And he's breathing heavier and smelling like the air and just like anything to break the wall, like chip at the wall. Um and when you can get it rolling like that, you can start to actually try to do things. I also strongly suspect that no, I don't know. It's just I it's just insane. It's just
Yeah.
completely insane. And I may end up having to just take him for a while. But yeah, I don't even know if it's possible, but luckily I've got time right now where I can fuck around and go for it.
Yeah. What is super
Yeah,
interesting is that like it almost um it doesn't seem like physiologically possible for an animal to be in fight or flight state that
all the time,
long, that
all the
hardcore.
time.
Like
So
he
I'm
has
like,
to
hey guys,
sleep.
let's go inside. Like, let's go inside, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go inside. And the guy's like, okay. And I actually just thought of something that we're gonna have to do. We need to use a
Yeah.
longer line. I need to tell him in the
Yeah.
morning because the guy goes to pick up the leash and the dog dives to the ground,
Yeah.
shaking.
Yeah.
It's like we.
Oh, I was
I was
gonna
like,
ask a real quick sidetrack. So he
yeah,
chewed your leash. Does
yeah.
he lets the owners or the foster parents put leash on? Or
They can put a leash on him, and he'll only chew it if he feels trapped. So
okay, so
because he was
you
with
were a
me and he
stranger
has
enough.
zero, yeah, yeah, he
Okay,
was like,
okay.
get me
Like
out of
he has
here.
at least that much trust of the
Right,
foster
right.
parents.
He
Okay,
can he
okay,
can have a leash on. And I
okay.
think that when they take him for the long walk, they use a retractable and he just can't
Yep.
get to it because it's just got like enough
Yep.
tautness to not be
Yep.
dangling.
Yep.
Um, but I was like, dude, does he do that every time you go to pick up the leash? He's like,
Yeah.
every single time, indoors or outdoors. It's like, holy fuck, dude.
Ugh.
That every day, how many times a day?
Just
It,
repeating, repeating, repeating.
insane. I
But you're gonna
just
say use longer line
Oh,
walking
so
into
that
the house.
you can pick up the line from further
Yes.
away to
Yep.
not activate
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
It's like again with puppies, it's so funny. All these little tricks where it's like the puppy plays keep away, and you're like, oh, I'm
uh-huh.
not walking for the line. Just go
Mhm.
step on it, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you pretend not to look at it and like
Yeah. If
any
there's something
little
just stuck.
trick that can be done.
Yeah.
Dude, if you had to pick up the leash with a fucking clothes hanger,
Yes.
like to not
Yes.
trigger it, I would literally do it. To
Yeah.
try to not
Yeah.
let him hit that whatever chemical release in his
Yes.
brain every fucking
Yes.
time that happened. These little casual,
It's such strong.
brutal
Yeah.
emotions.
Wild. Huh.
Yeah, it's so bad. And I think we probably need to put obviously we need to have a backup collar on them, so we'll have
Yeah.
the leash
Yeah.
hooked to both the
Safety
prong
stance,
and the
yeah.
backup. Fucking
Yeah.
brutal. But they live in an area that has big open spaces. There's a
Okay.
chance that we take them out on the line tomorrow morning, and there's shit that I see that they didn't, and he
Yeah.
opens up seriously. I just kind of
Yeah.
doubt it. I am
Yeah.
gonna tell this lady, dude, you gotta fucking move. You have to run. I can't
Yeah.
have you out here just like, and you have to be
Standing.
moving and like doing
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Because there's even like the simple thing of like he can't be able to um
dwell in his
yes.
fucking like you can't let
Yeah.
him slow down and
Yeah.
fucking
Yep. And stop and
it's
think.
just so it's
Yeah.
so
You can't be allowed to think too hard.
really it's like I
Yeah.
can't let you fall in the hole like and
Or
it's just
ruminate.
the
Yeah.
I know that neurologically like there's pathways and shit. I'm gonna sound like a fucking Cro Magnon right now, but like you can I imagine that the path to misery has just it's
Yes.
like in his mind it's like a canyon. It's
It's a
like the only
highway.
thing in
Yeah.
there. It's like I'm in there all the time and I just go
Yep.
straight, straight, straight.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
getting a
Yep.
little bit off of it
Yep.
at all has
Yep.
to happen at some point. And
Yeah.
inside of the house, we have to mitigate the damage. Like just
Yeah.
try to mitigate. There's no winning right now inside of the house. That's not
No.
gonna fucking
No.
happen. We just have to
Yeah.
try to remove as many of the L's as we can.
Yeah. So one thing I kind of want to go back to with like the you mentioned like owners just won't be able to see it with like the picking up the leash and the dog like diving to the
Uh-huh.
floor and
Yeah.
those conflicts. So like something I think of this has been super helpful just as like a heuristic for even like obedience trained sport dog stuff, but like also just like emotional state and keeping sort of on the right track with that or the right level or whatever you want to call it is I think about like, okay, if I start to so like I'll use like super simple example of like if I'm going to do obedience with my dog on a new field and he's just like not with me, I'm going to start with going like, hey, quick rewards, I'm showing you I have a value, we're gonna do like a quick, maybe not even like get into basic position and pay, but just like let's sit, pay, look at me, pay, and then like get the momentum going. And then once I've checked that box, it's like, okay, cool, now I can go back to what we were doing in the backyard or whatever, right? So it's like in my head, I have like this prerequisite that isn't a given. And I need to check that box every time as a warm up or whatever you want to call it. But like as soon as I get out, that has to be present. Otherwise, we can't move on, raise the criteria, whatever. So like with the dog who's been taking himself to the floor, it's like if I'm reaching out to a scared dog and they pancake, it's like my first instinct would absolutely be or not be, don't keep putting the leash on, right?
Right.
And like find something else, like walk away, get the dog moving, whatever it is. And those are those little decision points where like that is kind of like a make or break kind of moment and like skill set where looking at the dog and their emotional state, it's like if they ever, and with this particular dog, right, it's like pretty obvious where if he dips into somewhere that is completely unproductive, we don't proceed. Like we don't continue down that
Right.
pathway.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
saying, like his brain is already wanting to go there. And it's like, no, like that is a stop sign,
Right.
hardcore, turn left, do something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things where like people kind of just shove through those moments where like the dogs are telling them,
Yeah.
like this is important to me. It's important to the dog's perception. But to us humans, we're just like, and you see it all the time in obedience, right? That's like you said something where it's like, oh, we go for a walk with the dog, right? So like, we're not going to let him sniff. You see
Yeah.
people do this all the time with obedience where they're like, no, I'm trying to work on a sit. And the dog is like, I can't.
Can't
Like
right
he's
now.
feeling some feelings about the
Right.
environment or whatever. And it's like, that is no longer the goal of the session. Like you have to forget about that and work on what it is that the dog is struggling with. And that's one of those things where like, yeah, like you see it all the time with people that are like, but I want to go on a walk. And it's like, no, but your dog
Right.
needs to do this right now. It needs to run around. It needs to, I don't know, go chase that squirrel or go do
Well,
zoomies or whatever it is. And it's just like, no, it's not like, it's not about the goal in that moment. Like if
Right.
something logistically needs to get done, like you need to figure out how to do it, but stop and think about that. Like that needs to be a signal, and have some meaning to you. And like people just, and again, it's like most 99.99% of the time, lack of understanding of it and like lack of being able to see it. But it's like that needs to be a red flag where it's just like, no, everything stops, address that.
Change. Yeah.
And then you can come back to maybe what it was that you were trying to do. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So you
it's a tough one though.
need, well, that makes me think though that some sort of interrupter, right? Like
Yeah.
a sequence break
Yeah.
could actually, I could actually condition the clicker with like junk food. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if he'll take like,
so if I can get him to take, and by him take food, I mean like I throw it away. So he's
yeah, yeah,
getting
yeah,
to
for sure.
run
Like,
away from me
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Um,
Or even try to instigate some like, not even prey necessarily, but just like there, if he has like almost a flinch response, which it sounds like all of his flinch responses are in the wrong direction, right? But like
yeah.
almost a reflex where he's like, oh, that moved. And that's enough
Yeah.
of a moment to be like, all
Uh-huh.
right,
Be different.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So something like click toss, and we're talking like fucking rotisserie chicken dipped in the
yeah,
juice
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit like that. Like
yeah,
click toss, click toss, click toss, click toss. And it'd probably be like over his shoulder every time, like down the hallway, so he can run away
yep,
from me. Or to his bed that
yep,
he'll go to. Even his crate, even like his
yep,
crate, it would have meant like just to make him get up off the ground and move. And then you go to hook the leash, he dives, click,
yep,
throw. Do it again.
yeah,
Dive, click, throw. And hopefully at that point, you go with the leash and he's thinking, where's is the chicken coming?
yeah, yeah.
And
And I think too,
somewhere in
like
there,
it doesn't even have to be that elaborate though. Like, because let's say he doesn't take food. Let's say he's panicked enough that he's like too far gone there. Like, I'm even thinking something of like, and again, like you have to set this up as a training session and actually have a leash already on, however you do it,
Mhm.
like lasso and quick with a slip
Right.
leash or whatever, but literally just like turn your back, walk away. And it's like, oh, actually, you're coming with me for a second. Or like, oh, we're going back outside.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
doesn't even have to be,
Just to
it
break
just has to be like,
the
I'm not
drop to
going
the
to
ground.
actually, yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm not actually going to
Mm.
do the thing that you clearly hate that I'm doing. Like you think I'm going to poke you with a needle, but actually, I'm just showing it. I mean, it is kind of like classic desensitization, right? But
Yeah.
like just, I mean, obviously for that dog, like try it with the food. I'm not saying don't do that, but like for the listeners, like
Yeah.
for problem solving stuff, I think a lot of times it's even, we underestimate like going to that completion point, or like dogs that hate a nail trim or hate, and it's like, and I do this with puppies all the time just for like husbandry stuff, desensitization. So like this doodle I was talking to you about before we recorded, like she does not stop fucking wiggling when you touch it. Like I actually get a lot of dogs that are very touch hypersensitive, not in like a
Mhm.
negative way, but like you touch them and they're just like, ah, like
Crazy. Yeah, yeah.
fucking like just stupidity. So it's literally like I hold your collar, I hold your like vet tech hold, where you have them like kind of turned to the side, hold your collar, hold your butt still, and you stop wiggling for 2 seconds, and then okay, and then we bebop around for a second, back to it. Like, I mean, you preach the release command all the time, right? Like it's something as simple as that of like, I'm going to show you a moment, nothing catastrophic is going to happen, and we're done. And then like
Right.
building that tolerance more and more slowly, that is wildly effective. Like I can get stuff done in a matter of like 1 or 2 sessions with a dog that doesn't have any like trauma around it, but like a puppy, I can be
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
trimming their nails without them struggling, in a couple of sessions with that tactic. So it's like people to think about that stuff where it's like something as simple as, okay, I'm putting a little bit of spatial pressure on you and then relieving it with a release. We're back to being buddy buddy. But it's like, hey, I just need to do this for a second. Okay, let's go back. Like it doesn't have to be uh even that release of that stress can be extremely, that can be a high for the dog. Like sometimes you don't even need to add anything more. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir on this, but like that's the kind of stuff where especially with dog owners, it's like that can be very, very accessible and easy to just be like, hey,
Yeah.
Pongo even, right? Like the owner wanting to like pat him on the head, and it's like,
Oh fuck.
okay,
Yeah.
well, like
Jesus
pat and then
Christ.
you know what I mean, or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
right. No, no, I
Just
know
like
what you
simple
mean.
stuff like that, where it's like that release of stress can be very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was kind of a little bit off on a rant,
No,
but
it's
yeah, like interrupter, basically what you're saying, like whether it's an
so like with
actual,
the slip collar, you could just stop, sort of like very lightly stop him
yeah,
from plopping and then
yeah,
walk away
yeah,
from him and then
yes,
just be like,
yes,
bet
yeah,
you didn't happen.
because he thinks like my impression, obviously I haven't seen it, but like my impression is that he thinks he needs to pancake, otherwise he's gonna die, right? So just like
Right,
proving to
right,
him,
right.
hey, you weren't able
Yeah,
to do this,
yeah,
but removing yourself from the situation, like almost if it were logistically possible, I would want to put him like not in a catch pole, because obviously that's gonna make things worse in terms of just it's a very scary piece of equipment for most dogs,
right.
but like you could like push him out of heel position, like if you could have like
Yeah,
a block to everything that he thinks is like this keeps me alive, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not even part of it, you're just self-discovering that you didn't die.
Right,
Like
right,
you
right.
didn't
Well,
flop down,
you
nothing
can
bad
accomplish that
happened.
without the catch pole. You just have to turn
Yeah,
and not let him enter.
yeah.
Um,
Which like
and that's
some dogs I'm picturing could be frantic enough to catch up to you, and then you're
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
um, you
yeah. I
know,
mean, yeah, and if
it's just like
you get
sneakily
trust
able to
with them,
catch you. But
you can like stiff leg him too if he trusts
yeah,
you at that point. Just
yeah,
shove him away and
yeah,
be like, dude, I'm
yep,
serious.
yep,
They couldn't do that now because he would think that they're about to
yeah.
fucking murder
He's
me.
getting kicked. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't. It's just now with this
Yeah, it's
problem,
like
it's like
those
how
subtle pattern breaks. I think like obviously this dog
yeah
is a super extreme case, but I think again for like the listeners, like takeaway from this discussion is definitely instead of going like I'm going to address that head on and be like I'm going to pull you up out of that pancake, or I'm going
yeah
to I don't know, try to lure you out of it while you're already there. It's like
right
no, just
right
like a pinky, of like nope, not going to let that happen, just get out of there,
yep
that thing of like don't try to tackle this stuff head on, like go sideways around it. Like the indirect approach
hmm
is going to be much more effective than trying to directly convince the dog, hey, don't do that, or hey, you don't need to do that. It's like instead of you telling the dog that, let it happen in a way that the dog was like, whoa, holy shit, what just happened?
right
But you're not there putting more pressure on him, trying to like
hmm
coerce him into changing his mind.
yeah
Uh,
yeah.
if this makes any sense, I'm like, I have a picture in my head that makes sense to me, but I don't know if it's actually translating. But yeah,
This just it makes me want to take him even more
I know. Yeah,
because I can do everything on my own without worrying if they're fucking it up, and I can record
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
all the experiments and everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
would be a super interesting one. Because what's also very interesting about those dogs is like, as soon as you do get them out of that hole, um, it is crazy how much progress they can make. Like
well, they
it
asked
can
me
be really
they
exponential.
they were like, okay, say that we do all this and we get him to a really good spot, and then he gets adopted. Like, is this all just gonna be gone? I
Yeah,
said, there's no way.
yeah,
There's no way
yeah.
because he doesn't want to be like this.
No,
Like
no.
once he has a taste of life, it's over. He'll be fine. And it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that there's
yeah.
no considerations at all, and there's no management at
No,
some level.
no.
But and he's gonna be the happiest dog in the world. But like if you get him happy, he will want to
Hmm.
be happy every day.
Hmm.
It really is just it do be like that. You know what I mean? It do be like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's actually something I think this would be an interesting one to actually dig into in terms of like legitimate research around it, because like I've heard you say that before, and I don't disagree that like he doesn't want to be like that, and you show a dog a better way and they are gonna stick with it for the most part,
mhm,
absent like actual triggers.
right.
But I think about then like people and how much like we don't want to be depressed or we don't want to be anxious.
Mhm,
I mean, this gets into a whole discussion of like society is set up very, very poorly for human mental health as well as dog mental health. But there is that thing of like we do kind of come back to homeostasis becoming a little bit of like a certain state. And like I don't know if it's just because like our human brains that like we've
Well, no,
ruminated,
it's
we
because
think too much, and
we have responsibilities. Dogs don't.
yeah. Well, that's true.
Like
That's true. Yeah,
we have actual freedom. Dogs don't.
that's true.
So
That's
like
true.
the dog just needs to have a predictable environment.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With maybe like one thing a day to look
Yeah.
forward to,
Yeah.
and they don't have to worry about shit outside of their routine. We
Yeah.
have
That's
to.
very true.
Like
That's
we
very true.
always have to.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
their
There's no external
simplicity.
fact. Remove the external factors that are
Right.
continually causing
Right.
the anxiety or the depression, then it's fine.
Yeah. Well,
Which is never
Jesus
going to
Christ.
happen with us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We just can't. So it's almost like their comparative simplicity actually just makes
Yes.
it
So much easier.
there's not as much misery input, not as
Yeah.
many like
Yeah.
outside variables manipulating them. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
their baseline in their predictable lifestyle,
Yeah.
and like at that point it's just teaching new people to handle them the same way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. No, that,
Um,
as soon as you say that, I'm like, oh, duh.
but
But yeah,
it's
it's unfortunate that humans aren't that simple.
right, right. Um, yeah, I
Hmm.
don't know. It'll be really challenging. I'll see what I can figure out tomorrow, and I may just get so frustrated. I'll just be like, just like hang on to him until this date,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you know, I'll grab him. We'll see, and then we can do trial runs where he stays back at their house. We'll see. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I have this workshop thing I got invited to go to this coming month, and I don't want to. I would never fucking bring this dog, so it would have
No.
to be after that. We'll see.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'll I'll try to record as much of it as I can. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
If I could get this dog to chase a ball, I'd be the Hall of Fame, like actually Hall of Fame. It'd have to it'd be fucking insane. And
For real.
he almost I brought my whole container of toys out. He almost showed interest in it. And then the golden retriever started getting zoomies, and I saw him
Oh, no.
react, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't going the way that
Oh,
it's supposed to." He did not like that. That was supposed to
yeah.
be really good. That was supposed to
Yeah.
be like a really good thing, and it was. And I was taking their word for it. You know, I was taking the owner's word for it. They
Yeah.
just don't know.
No.
They
No.
saw it. They've seen her chase him, and they assumed it was like consensual play. And
Yeah.
he's trying to escape the backyard, literally, like he's trying to
Oh my
escape. It's crazy. And I don't know how much of
God.
my camera caught that part of it. I hope it
Yeah.
caught all of it, but it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
We'll
Like
see.
I hate laughing at owners, but it is.
They just have
Guys.
no idea. They just have no fucking clue. No fucking clue.
Oh, bad.
And these are fantastic people, by the
Yes.
way. This
Yeah.
isn't like low level. These are like fantastic. They've owned dogs their whole lives. They've fostered shelter dogs a million times before, some with behavioral issues, and they genuinely had no way to discriminate between him getting zoomies and playing with Big Sister versus him thinking he's about to
Panicking.
get ripped in half. It's nuts. So we'll see where it goes. Have you enjoyed all like 10 hours of my shelter workshop video? Did you get the written
Uh,
report done? Yeah, I'm
no, I'm
joking. I'm
broke.
trolling. I'm 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 trolling. 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 No, I'm joking.
Yeah. No, I feel like I should get some perks now as a podcast co-host.
Yeah,
Listed.
maybe get you a if I got codes, I would send you one. I don't get anything.
Yeah, I know.
I don't really have any big updates on my Rottweiler. It's been 2 weeks now since like post injury. Still is not 100%. I've never had a dog get hurt like this and be hurt for this long.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty
no,
annoying.
actually, that's a lie. Scout's been fucked up for like weeks and weeks at a
Well,
time
yeah, but that's
before.
your personal dog.
Right, right. Yeah,
Like,
board and train, I never. It's just when you train with play, it's actually I was due to have a dog get banged up.
yeah,
It's just something that happens when you train with play, and I just never have it happen. And you know, I'm used to the whole thing like, oh, a dog might limp for 4 days, but then they're fine, and he just was not getting better. And it's like a weekend, and he's showing some progress, but then he gets zoomies, and then he limps off the field again, and I'm like, holy shit, like what the fuck is going on? So he goes home in 4 days. We had to take 2 weeks off of training, and I don't know what we're going to end up doing with the program, if he's going to come back after he heals up and we finish it, or if we're just going to try to say, fuck it, let's go with it. I've been taking him back out on walks the last few days out in public around dogs and stuff, because he was pretty dog reactive. Some of the bad feelings have crept back in, and I've gotten on him. I've hammered him, like been really, it felt like an off-leash canine walk. Back when I worked with them, where like you go out and you basically
Yeah.
fight with the dog. It
Yep.
felt like that for about 3 minutes. And I was like, man,
Mm,
I used to do this for like an hour at a time. This sucks. Not
yeah.
literally, but I had to get out and, I don't know if you'd call it claim authority, but be like, dude, like I'm fucking serious. Like I've got it on a level 100 and I'm tapping it like 5-6 times. And like I just like, don't do that. But he needed it, and it was very effective. 'Cause a huge part of my thought process there was that, like, okay, you've got him going home to his dog owner, like his owner.
Yes.
Let's say they go on vacation and he gets boarded for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and he's fucking pent up and,
Yep.
unfulfilled and all those types
Yep.
of things.
Just goes
Now I
shitty.
know I can tell them, guys, like I'm telling you, he's going to
Gonna
fuck
need
with
a
you.
refresher. Yep.
And
Yep.
and by refresher, I mean like 30 seconds of you being like, dude, I'm fucking serious.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I'm dead fucking serious.
Yeah.
And that very much feels like an immutable characteristic. Maybe that's cope.
No,
But
I mean,
he
and it's,
just
I think I said this in the last podcast where it's like, that is fucking classic Rottweiler, where it's
right,
like, they're gonna be pushy.
right,
They're
right.
rank dogs like
And
that, where,
there are times where I can tell he knows the e-collar's gonna come after, and he's just like,
mhm.
fine, fuck it.
Yep. Yep.
So we've gotten him. He's back to a really nice point, even just after a few walks. But this requires maintenance. This is not
Mhm.
like most of the dogs that I put out, where it's like you can kind of
Yep.
fuck. Like they're actually going to have work, which I don't
Yeah.
like saying,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
just walk your dog and make him do stuff.
Yeah.
When he's healthy, we need to get back to playing.
Yeah.
But
But it's
he
a dog with
will.
strong character that
Right,
needs,
right, right.
yeah.
And he will look for cracks in the system and go for
Yeah.
it. You know, just
Yeah.
kind of a weird one for me, like just a dumb, like goofy pet dog with no bad intentions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he's ended up actually being kind of challenging. Even though
Yeah.
there's no mystery. There's no mystery to it. I know
Right.
exactly what's
Right.
happening, but like he still will push,
Mhm.
even though I
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's, and it's funny, right? Because like those are the best working dogs, right? But like they are
Right,
kind of a pain in the ass because it's like,
right.
dude,
You can get control of them, but they're bold enough to come up with
test it.
ideas and like,
Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they are willing to pay the price a little bit if they're like,
right,
it was worth a shot. Yeah.
right, right.
Couple taps on 100, whatever.
Right.
I
But
guess I'll behave for a little while, but I'll try
that's the
again
beauty
later.
of play. But that's the beauty of play,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you can incorporate the negative punishment. And
Yeah.
then the dog's like, okay, it's not a physical resilience test. I
Correct.
actually just don't get to participate anymore
Yeah.
if I fuck up.
That's
And
massively devastating.
that's what's been missing for us for 2 weeks, is that
Yes.
idea that like if you're
Yes.
going for the ball when I told you to heal, it doesn't mean I'm gonna I mean I could, but I'm
Mhm.
not going to. I'm just gonna be like, dude,
Mhm.
we're not gonna play. And then it's like you add both of those perspectives, and
Yeah.
then like being reactive out in public, you just say the word no, and it's just
Yep.
over with
Yep.
no, and the
Yep.
rest of the walk you never have to do anything. But
Yep.
this is sort of like a testament to just being physical with punishment,
Yep.
requiring this upkeep and like
100%.
having to come back, and like depending on the
100%.
mood, it's like, oh, I slept well last night. I'm feeling tough. Let's fucking eat some electricity. Oh, he
100%.
won't do that with negative punishment in play.
No.
He will not.
No.
It's like, oh fuck. It just works immediately. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
it doesn't, we'll run it multiple rounds and you can see him
Yeah.
go, oh,
I guess he's not kidding. Yeah.
without fighting. Yeah, without like actually
Yeah.
fighting, you know.
Yeah. Like that's also like, that is definitely where you also get the most buy-in from the dog too, is like, oh, we cooperate
Yeah.
together to
Yeah.
play this game. You're
Yeah.
following rules, I'm following rules, yada yada.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, like the the worst or the most difficult pet dogs for sure are dogs with strong character, usually working breeds that the owners have a very, very difficult time playing with their dog and actually satisfying that need, and then the dog is like, gonna find other opportunities to
I need my moment.
have fun.
Yeah, I need my moment. I've
And
got
they're very
and
resilient dogs, so it's like, well,
the
gotta learn how
anticipations
to
because
tug.
I know they're gonna walk me at 6 p.m.
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
the walk is gonna be 30 minutes long,
Yep.
and I
So I
know
better
this
get it
one
all out.
house has this dog.
Yep.
And then people are like, well, it's the way you picked up the leash inside of the house that's like making it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally, that's stupid.
Um,
I
yeah.
thought of the topic I thought of that I forgot to write down, but now I just remembered. I was thinking about and like we don't have to get hardcore into this. Like
Hmm.
we can talk about it later too, because I don't know if you've like thought about this or not, and like this might not be like a good question for you in particular, but you don't use food a lot in training, and that is like a stereotypical like TWC thing.
Hmm.
And I definitely will still use food in my training. Like I kind of I do think it has a lot of pros that you can mitigate the cons and yada yada. And like I'm just curious to hear you talk a little
I'm ready
bit
to
more
fight.
about like
Yeah, I'm ready to fight. Well, let me very
but
quickly, because
like
this is actually
yeah,
really interesting, like
yeah,
really, really interesting. And I wouldn't have thought of this as a topic. So this is like actually really cool.
yeah,
Because that's how little I think about food and training. It
yeah,
wouldn't even
yeah.
come up to me as like a pros and
A
cons because
controversy.
it
Yeah.
just like doesn't exist in my brain.
Yeah.
But to be clear, I actually think most TWC people use food,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Like actually,
a
so
lot
I
of
was
the
gonna ask
really good
like
ones,
yeah, like Ivan
they tell me
kind
they're
of
like, no, I start with food,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and then I move to play. I just
yeah.
don't, but that's just me. You know what I
And
mean? That's
there's
just me.
particular circumstances where I definitely use food just because it's like I got to get shit done and play is
Right,
not
right,
it's just not
right.
viable. And I think most people are not running 8-week programs. Like
Oh
unfortunately,
yeah,
it's the state
yeah,
of the industry that like it is the norm to be like you've got 3-4 weeks,
yeah,
if that, to be honest.
yeah,
And unfortunately, like you are stuck working within those constraints that could be suboptimal. Like
yeah.
obviously I would rather be able to have a dog for 2-3 months, build a super strong relationship and yada
Play.
yada, but like it's
Yeah,
just not
yeah,
it's not feasible a lot of the times. But and like this is why I'm like I don't know if I'm like asking the right person per se, but because like this is definitely Ivan's opinion from the way that he presents it. At least again I haven't asked him specifically, but he definitely is like, you know, kind of poo-poos food.
yeah,
Um, and the reason I thought of this is like, uh, good dog training is not about a system or a specific technique. It is about the framework in which you look at the dog and your approach and
yeah.
etc. So it's like you can come up with whatever technique you want as long as it makes sense
Correct.
within, you know, proper dog psychology and ethology and yada yada.
Right.
So for me, like I absolutely can use food very quickly as a competing motivator.
Yep.
I can use it as a de-stress where I can throw a piece of food across the room after like after a nail trip, right, or
Hmm.
whatever, and the dog is
Hmm.
going to chase it. But I can't guarantee that on day 2 with a lab who's been told that he's not allowed to tug for his entire life, you know, but
Hmm.
has been thrown snacks.
Hmm.
Um, so like little stuff like that, like I find a ton of utility in it. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, why not use food?
So
Like
really
I get
fast,
it, but also
you said
like it,
something
yeah, yeah,
that's very relevant, very, very
yeah,
relevant for me right now with Captain Dipshit over here.
yeah,
So he's got his go home lessons coming up, and we can't
hmm,
play. We
right,
just can't. I
right.
have a feeling the owners are going to be like, dude, we can't even see the limp. Let's go. And I just can't. I'm going to be like, no.
No, yeah,
Like I want you to either take him to your vet or wait another week or
yeah,
2 weeks or
yeah,
something. So
yeah. It's
we
definitely
can't
a
play.
sprain or something. Yeah,
We cannot play, right? So I was thinking, like the thing that I talk about all the time when people ask me about go home lessons is the most important part is finding a moment where the owner can get on the dog. And if we can't play, I can't do some weird shit where like I stand here, you stand there, he's in a down, and we
Yep.
bounce the ball over his head. Like we can't do it because he's
Yep.
gonna get hurt, at least in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, he is a ravenous eater.
Hmm.
Ravenous. Like insane. Like it's kind of crazy actually. I'm just gonna use food to generate this
Yep.
moment. I'm gonna sit down with treats, like big chunks that he
Yep.
has to chew, right? And the owner's gonna be standing over there with the electric collar remote, and she's gonna call him
Yep.
off. And he doesn't have to fly through the air and play. We can do this right here, just with food.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
as a competing motivator, it can be insane, especially
Yep.
if you have a dog that's like a voracious eater. You
Yeah.
can really very easily come up with these little schemes that are very clear decision points where it's like stay here and eat or listen to mom and leave. And then rewarding them with the food after is fine too. So in that way, I will use food. And I did this
Hmm.
also. I have a video up somewhere with this kennel dog named Badger, who is sort of a similar situation. At his go home process, his owner lives in Colorado. I'm never going to see them again so long as we live, right?
Hmm.
And we're on our like fourth go home lesson of 5, and this dog is not making any fucking mistakes. In or out of play, with any distractions in the environment on our walk, supposedly he was dog reactive. We can't get up. He is doing so well for me and for his owner that we're not having that moment where it's like, no, dude, I'm serious. And we know that's going to happen when he goes home. It's a guarantee. So
Yep.
like you don't say if regression, you say when,
Yeah.
right? And hopefully it's not like an aggressive moment. Hopefully it's just something stupid, but that
Right.
you need to be able to capitalize on it. And if I can't get the owner to go through those steps with me, they're gonna panic and fucking not know
Yes.
what to do. So we took out a bag of food and we just started throwing him treats.
Yeah.
And then we started going down, okay, throw, sit, okay, throw. And then I had her go, sit, okay, throw, Badger, come. And he didn't recall. And now he's in trouble. And we were able to run that once in that lesson and then
Hmm.
once like at the final one in a
Yeah.
smaller scale because he was starting to respect her seriously. So food isn't something that, and there are other circumstances I'll use food, but you said competing motivator. It's like it is so easy to do that. I will do that. But I don't know if there's anything there you want to react to before I go off into like the
Yeah.
general
No, and I,
question.
I think, and again, like I don't want to put words in Ivan's mouth of like he poo poos food or whatever.
Oh, he does.
I think, yeah, and like,
Natalia is actually way more. He's not. Ivan's not anti-food. Like he actually will train with food, but I
well,
suspect
that's what
he
I was gonna
does it
say. He
more
probably
so
uses it as a
that he
competing motivator.
or he'll do it more so as a reminder that I know how to do this and like I can do this. And like I see
Yeah.
what it does and
Yeah.
like I can keep up on the skill and all that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, keep
I think
talking.
it's more like where he definitely has like the biggest feelings about it is food luring puppies
Hmm. Yeah.
for like competitive obedience and whatnot, which
Yeah.
is also a whole nother discussion. But like it just for context for the listeners, like food creating appeasement behavior naturally in dogs. And I don't know if it's just like I'm not seeing it or the way I'm using it or whatever, but like I don't see that so much in like older pet dogs. I definitely see it in puppies. Like for sure the like very heavily lured sport puppies, you can see it in their healing. Um like totally agree with that. But using it for like I don't know, luring a sit or a down or a heel a couple of times. Um, I don't see it really stick like that
Hmm.
conditioned emotional response in that obedience behavior. So it's just interesting, right? Where it's like, yeah, of course you can start with negative reinforcement. It's like I think there's a ton of value to doing that too. But I think there's also sometimes value in starting with food. So I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess like I don't necessarily have any like strong arguments, but like or
So
like
so
disagreement.
food,
It's just
I
like
think that food, especially like in the TWC sphere, the idea would be that, well, play is not always on the table, so we
right,
go to food.
right,
I get that. I don't do that.
right.
I do the thing that's like my favorite thing in the world to do, which is negative
Yeah,
reinforcement and a release
yeah,
command.
yeah.
And I know that people, if people are getting this far into this, they're probably cringing and going, "Oh, we've heard about this before." Like I don't know how to say it, guys. Like I don't. That's how I train dogs.
Well, and so
So
what's
the
interesting too, and
reason,
like,
go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, not to cut you off, but like
No, no, no. Please.
I think I've had this discussion with you before, like off podcast. But you are using so you're using negative reinforcement. Okay, so like there's a difference between me going sit, negative reinforcement, and then okay, and then
Hmm.
taking 2 steps away and the dog just gets up and then
Right.
rinse and repeat. It's a massive difference between that and going sit, we're outside on the long line, and you go, okay, and you run a couple steps with the dog
Mhm.
and bebop around a little bit and like kind of have a little like moment with the dog of like, wow, that was such a good job.
Right.
Like that is like positive reinforcement on the backside.
So
Um,
why? So that
and that's
first
where a
one's
lot of people use food.
right, which I don't get.
Right. But what's interesting, so like I think what's interesting though is when people are like, just to like I guess clarify that or like talk more about it. It's not just a negative reinforcement with a release command. It is a
Yeah.
very specific type of release command that is
It's a
hinging
moment.
on you
It's an
having a good
event.
time with the dog.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Like you are having a reward event. It's just sans
Or
food.
but hang on. If the dog's not having a good time,
Yeah.
it is an invitation to a good time.
Yes. Yes.
That
Yeah.
that so people skip this for the
Yeah.
food, for the
Yes.
food,
Yes. So
and
that
they
okay. So
miss.
that's a really
They
That's
give
a
the trade-off is not good, in my opinion.
okay. So
It's like
that just
you
clicked something in my brain. You know how I said earlier, like I have always a check about like is the dog in the right emotional state to continue? If I cannot get the dog up and going like, okay, and then so like my reward events, even with like my own sport dogs are like, yep. And then I'll like, they'll jump up on me and I'll kind of push them away. Or like I'll make a kind of like, oh, do you want it? Do you want it? As I'm taking the ball out of my pocket and it's this like stalking moment. And then I take the ball and throw it to them. If they did not have that reaction, I'd go, oh shit, like
right,
something's fucked here. So like
right,
same for even a pet dog where it's like the food is just the icing on the cake. That's kind of like almost the closure of that moment of like, sweet, I gave you the thing and now we're going to move on. And but it's like it's part of the event. It's not I'm still interacting with the dog. And if I saw that the dog was only like going for my hands, or you can almost tell that they're like clouded by the food, for lack of a better word.
yeah,
Like this happens
yeah,
all the time with prey objects, like way, way
right,
more. Where the dog is like, you're just the arm that gives me the toy and I could give a shit about
yeah,
you. Like
right,
for sure that I'm like, well, like there's something here that we need to fix. And that I think is where like probably and again, this is probably going to be a repeating theme in these discussions is like, it's not the thing, it's not the technique per se. It's not the fact that you use food, it's the fact of like, and when I think like, oh, you don't like how people are using food, I'm thinking
mhm,
about it on the surface level of like, oh, you don't like that people say okay and then give their dog a snack. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's that people are saying okay and band-aiding lack of relationship with the dog getting a snack
yeah,
and then
yeah,
calling it the same thing. And it's like, ah. So
right,
like
right,
that was the thing that clicked in my head is like, okay, like that's why when I say the way that I use food doesn't feel artificial,
right,
it's because it isn't as
right,
much.
right,
Like
and
it is a play event
right,
in a sense
right.
that way. But
It's it's like when people, it's so easy to get a result with food, basically, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can get a result, like
Which is so
you can get
funny to me because I'm like, no, you can't.
right, but
When
not
I'm
one that
thinking about like,
matters. Not one that matters.
oh
Not
yeah,
one that
yeah,
matters.
yeah,
Like one that
yeah,
people they see, it's like, oh, now the
yeah,
dog's looking at me and he's not looking over there.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
go, that's crazy. That's and then they stop. That's where the
yeah,
curiosity of like how
yeah,
far the two of us can go ends.
yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
because of the ease of access to food and the quick little like
yes,
attraction that it can cause with a lot of
yes,
dogs.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
what I am saying
mm,
is that off in my twisted dimension, I promise you, you can get there if you just push, if you just go further beyond that anxiety that like, oh
yeah,
my God, the dog's not immediately downing like he does when I have a lure. You
yes,
just,
yes,
if you get through that weirdness, I'm telling you, on the other side, and I have a really hard time talking about this because I don't know how to necessarily articulate it, but I do think you can see it in my dogs.
mm,
There is this light, free, carefree, like air about my dogs.
hmm,
And they're not habitually checking back to me and like looking at my pockets and like
yeah,
salivating. They are just like out in the world and they're not ignoring me. They're still with
yeah,
me. And I would say we're tighter because there's none of this
yes,
going on.
artificial tone,
And
and again, like people just become very, very unclear with like when, so like for my dogs, right? It's like Dice is actually very bad at this. I'll be like, "Hey, we're done," and like they know, like just go sniff around and do whatever. Dice is bad at it because he'll pick up a toy and try to find somebody else to play with
mhm,
him, but he knows it's not
nice,
me.
nice.
um, but like I can turn that off.
Right.
Is my point, and like that I see a lot of people that I mean, it's the thing of like you see it happen to people that have taken the advice of reward your dog for relaxation by giving them
Oh
food,
my
and it's
God.
like, well,
Fuck me.
like no,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. And
Right.
that's when you see that like perpetual, almost
Operant
like
sort of like, yeah, like
anxious kind of like, but I need
what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I
yeah,
do? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And by the way,
And
I'm
it's
not
a lack
saying
of
it's
clarity.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's an either or thing.
yeah, yeah,
You can train with food and
yes,
achieve the thing that I'm talking about.
yeah,
I'm just saying for me it is an either or thing
yeah,
because
yeah,
I went through a stage where I started looking for excuses to take food out into a training session.
mm,
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really not. I swear to you I'm not. I had the treats and I felt gross.
yeah,
I'm not fucking with you. I was like, why would I do this? I've
yeah,
got a long line. I've got my dog, and this we're
yeah,
like, oh, why
yeah,
would I do
yeah,
that? Why would
yeah,
I make him stop and eat and clean his teeth and like listen for the crinkle of the bag? No, dude, let's
yeah,
go fucking chase geese and
yeah,
like let's have a moment where you're like, well, I'm not comfortable popping into heel that tight to you. And I'm like, well, no, you
hmm,
can do it. I promise you can
hmm,
do it. And I show you how, right?
hmm,
And we have that moment on the release command where the dog just like, wow, like I did just do that.
hmm,
Not, oh, well, you put it on the left side of his nose to cause a pivot in
yeah,
the axial fucking thing, and then he fucking just whips it. No, what if I just we have this like elemental, simple base experience,
yeah,
and it's just and there's a shitload of other things too that we don't have to go down the rabbit hole. Like I made an entire video about how positive reinforcement kills aggressive dogs, and I stand by
hmm.
it 100%. Positive
Wait,
reinforcement in training programs, I mean. So like
okay,
rewarding aggressive dogs kills them is my take. And obviously
give like a TLDR.
that's a very blanket when people take in a human aggression case to be
Hmm.
rehabbed, right?
Yeah.
and we talked about it
Oh,
last,
kills. Okay, I
where
get it.
people get a false sense of
Yeah, okay,
control
I
that they
get it.
have over the
I thought
dog.
you meant kills them as in like suppresses them. You mean
No,
literally
no,
like
no,
kills
no.
them.
I
Okay,
mean it just diverts the attention. Like
yes,
it takes
yes,
everyone, including the
it's
dog's
an
eye,
illusion.
off of the
Yep,
ball. And
yep,
it's like, wow, if you do his work with his paychecks, he's not killing anybody.
hmm
that does nothing to address any of the underlying emotions. And I
yep,
actually think sort of distorts the process where the dog would start to see himself as a dog and you as all human beings and authority figures versus you're my vending machine,
yep,
where's my cookie,
yep,
smash. I have heard zero takes the alternative, and I've seen zero people that use primarily positive or only positive reinforcement that can
hmm
achieve 20% of what I do with these dogs. And
hmm
I've been looking, in years I've not seen it.
yeah,
If you're watching it, please, the
hmm
amount of positive reinforcement I use with these dogs, I couldn't even begin to explain how little it is.
hmm
If I'm talking negative to positive reinforcement, it's like 9 to 1 with the
hmm
dogs that I train. It may even be like I can't like obviously play and blah 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 whatever. Um,
yeah. Well, and
but
that's
like
why like I almost even get like not like frustrated with you, but like frustrated with like the whole we're stuck in this Skinner box perpetually of like
right,
negative versus positive reinforcement. It's like, no, you're using
yeah,
a shit ton of positive reinforcement. It's
oh
just
yeah,
not
yeah. It's not in the
it's
conventional reward
yeah,
sense.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like
It's not like
and the like a positive reinforcer comes with different qualities attached to it.
correct, correct.
So
Yeah. It's
I
this huge
largely
spectrum.
believe that food, at least how most people apply it, is totally disconnected, impersonal. It
Yeah,
turns
yeah.
dogs into these lethargic, sort of slobbering
Yeah.
ghouls that are just kind of like, oh, where's my? Whereas, like a, hey, dude, you did it, let's
Mhm.
go,
Yes.
is a
Yes.
very like. There's
Personal
anticipation,
like you're
there's
the dog's
thrills.
coach and
We're
not just a
together and
vending
we're seeing
machine.
each
Yeah.
other, and like you're seeing me as like one of you, but at the same time seeing me as your superior.
hmm
And
hmm
it's just when I am doing like a pet dog heel and I tell my dog okay and I release if I sit him and I release him,
Yep.
I don't want him to spin around and look at me waiting.
Right. Right.
That's the last fucking thing that I want. I want him to go, cool, maybe bump into me a little bit and then go. And then
Yeah.
we're still he's not running away from me. He just knows that like I can
Like
go
back to
be a
free. Yeah.
dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can go be a dog.
Yep.
Um so yeah, and like people will try to nail me on that, like, "You're technically still positive reinforcement." We all know what I'm talking about, dude. Like, we all
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and if
No, and
you
I
don't,
like I pick on your
you
language
know
because it's like
yeah, because it's
that
not
is
specific. I get
yeah.
it, but, like, if
It's
you
unfortunate that we're stuck with having to talk that way. Like it's back to the point I
right,
was kind of trying to make at the end of the previous podcast of like we're stuck in a reactionary discussion to
yeah,
norms rather than um like there I can't remember the name of it, but the researcher, but just the idea that classical and operant conditioning are not actually like separate entities. Like we can talk about this stuff in
right,
a vacuum all day long, but it's the same as like you put a cell in a petri dish and it's not going to act the
yeah,
same. A cancer cell in a petri dish is very different from a cancer cell in a human body, and like we're stuck with this kind of uh basic approach instead of going like no, let's actually apply it and
right,
start looking at it from more of a framework than just like, oh, this is a fact A, fact B, and I have to talk about it this way because this person talked about it this way. And now it's like we end up having these like very weird boxes and parameters on our language and therefore our ideas. And it keeps us stuck. Um,
yeah.
and like the critical thinking in the industry is like, okay,
Well,
we gotta do better, you know?
I think we can bypass, not bypass, but we can reconcile all of these things by just looking at the dogs
Yeah, yeah,
and how they were trained.
yeah, yeah.
So, on the rare occasion that someone does post something with a client dog, and it's always a food trainer, and like if it's some of the usual suspects, force free, Lima, balanced pussies, and their supposed case dog, all of them are trained with food, all of them are muzzled, all of them are suppressed.
Mhm.
every single time. And it
Mhm.
has not been demonstrated that these dogs even had substantial issues to begin with,
You're right.
because no one evaluates them properly. But what I'm getting at is that when you're looking at the conventional food training,
Mhm.
it is actually suppressive in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. So I
Yeah.
want to double back earlier when you were like, well, did you mean suppressing dogs with the food? I actually do in a way. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
I
it's
think that
keeping them
trying
on
to
a certain like rail
right
of this is
try
these are
trying
your
to
limited choices of expression.
trying to convince a pit bull that he's not interested in other
Yeah.
dogs
Yeah.
by hiding him on the perimeter and making him
Yeah.
salivate every time he sees a dog and hears a click and food comes. You're
Yeah.
like, I think that is gross and it is
Yeah.
suppressive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Versus like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, I'm going to teach you how to be social with other dogs in a
Mhm.
constructive way and enjoy it.
Mhm.
We're going to just treat a problem that's not there and try to brainwash the dog. It is suppressing the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultimately, none of these dogs have any substantial freedom, at least
Yeah.
nothing that we
It's.
would
I was
consider to be good.
literally just about to say it's taking away free choice,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
So
the crux of it. Yeah.
I don't see I will leave it at this. I mean, I'll happy to respond to any other questions on this. I have backed off on the use. I don't use food.
Mhm.
I haven't positively reinforced a recall with food in like
Mhm.
3 years. Um, I haven't taught a down or a sit with a lure in probably like 3 years.
Mhm.
And my dogs are out there.
Yeah.
I haven't lured a heel in 3 years. Like to teach a dog how to walk at your side.
Mhm.
My dogs are all right out there. You can watch all of it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
play. It's like dedicated play sessions with negative reinforcement in there. And then it's dedicated long line sessions or
Yep.
eventually off leash sessions with the
Yep.
electric collar and, negative
Yep.
reinforcement and just the release command. And then the
Yep.
environment and the thrill of being released. You know,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
So when
Yeah.
it comes to using food, I just don't have a place to put it. So
Yeah.
it's not just like I'm like, oh, food. No, it's like I actually just can't come up with a reason to take a dog out and like sit. Like I can't, you
Right.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that.
how much do we get out of the negative reinforcement where
Yeah.
the
And
sit becomes an excuse for us to have those interactions? You know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest actually I think I've like noticed this for a long time but didn't have the words for it until more recently. Um but you can tell when a dog is they're performing a behavior because they're like locked in via clear negative reinforcement in like a gamified negative reinforcement way where it's like again like you're coaching the dog through it, you're like, hey, come on, let's sit, and like pop and helping them whatever, and then a release into play, into running, into chasing food, whatever,
Hmm.
versus a dog where you go sit and lure and
Yeah.
don't use negative reinforcement. That dog is like almost they're in a headspace where it becomes very difficult to get that dog to stay thinking in a clear way. Like
Ooh,
I've just
interesting.
noticed more recently the difference in a dog, especially this is very noticeable in higher drive dogs, not so much in pet dogs, but I've started to notice it in pet dogs where I almost get like anxious when I see a dog spin up into this like I guess we'll call it over arousal, but this mindset where they're just not thinking, they're not learning. It's like the opposite of panic, right? Well, not opposite. It's you know that level of like okay, we're too far past the optimal stress point, um, and you can tell that the dog is just like not open to feedback in a way that
Hmm.
is just like frantic. Like,
Do you think?
it
Do
makes
you
me
think that
anxious. And negative
the
reinforcement just clarifies it so nicely.
so
Where it's just like,
I've
do
never thought
this.
about this
Yeah.
before, unless for some it's reminding me of a conversation that maybe happened back when I was in the course. This is
Yeah.
reminding me of something, but I haven't thought because luring just doesn't exist to me. I don't I wouldn't even think of this. do you think that if a dog is consistently trained with a lure, that they almost cap their own
Yeah.
processing power in training
Yes.
context because they're
They're
like,
not
well,
problem
just wait
solving
for
so
the
much
lure.
anymore.
You're right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
just like, well, that's going to do the work for me. I just have to wait
Yep.
for it to show up.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
interesting.
Actually, pretty funny. She's probably gonna listen and know I'm talking about her, but it's a good example. Where I think it was like a big kind of like light bulb moment for her. One of my club members, as a youngish puppy, 6, 7, 8 months old, whatever, like had lured the down. Like the dog definitely knows the mechanics that we want and yada yada. And she was like, I say down and then I move and she just never bothers to beat me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna add some negative reinforcement. And did like 1 or 2 sessions or whatever. And it's like, okay, now the puppy's getting it, right? And like she's learning how to do it too. So it's not like the cleanest thing ever, but like you can tell the dog is like, oh, I need to bother. I
Yeah.
need to
There's
bother to
there's any
try.
any urgency, any
Yes,
like
yes,
it
yes. Because
requires some
she's
sort of
not the type of dog that holds urge. And this is a whole fucking topic on breeding that most of our audience probably will not be interested in, but a lot of modern sport dogs are being bred to have a level of urgency that they carry around in daily life that I find
unhealthy.
irritating. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
um anyway. So like more and more sport dogs are becoming that way, so that with just positive reinforcement you can create a sense of urgency via, hey, you didn't get the food,
Hmm.
or you had to wait an extra 2 seconds to get the food because you didn't perform the behavior right away, and
Uh,
that will create negative reinforcement in the dog's head because of their
right.
temperament.
Right, right. Yep.
Whereas this dog's temperament, and quite honestly the type of dog I like, doesn't naturally have that. Like, of course they have drive, but they're not like, oh, I have to panic. And again, I'm
Hmm.
being a little bit facetious, but like
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
they have such a thick nerve that they're like, well, I know I'll get it. Like, I'm confident you'll give it to me. You have
Yeah.
displayed that to me for the past month or whatever that we've been working on
Hmm.
this. So, like, I'll just follow the pattern with you. And they're being
Yeah.
very, like, compliant, like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do think they're participating in the game as you've set it up. But then it's like, okay, now we're going to add a little bit of like that you have to beat this penalty, right? It's like, okay, now if you don't shoot the basketball fast enough, it's like, okay, the timer's up, like you lost, right? And it's
Right,
like
right.
there needs to be some of that because otherwise they're just like, I'll take my time, it's no problem.
So,
um
okay. You
yeah,
just
and like
you
negative
just
reinforcement
identified
adds that. Yeah.
right. Now you sort of just made my case for doing pure negative reinforcement sessions. Or
Yes.
I would say pure negative reinforcement and pure positive punishment sessions.
Yeah.
Because because I have found even in play that
And I'll
if
make
you
a counter
have
argument once you are done with this.
if you have to get on a dog for something, it won't be necessarily as punishing because they know in this overall context the ball is going to fly anyways. Like I'm going to be getting the ball.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
know that we are in a play session,
Hmm.
right? Like so it's going the ball's going to fly, and I feel like that creates a level of almost like, sure, buddy, I'll let you break progression and nah, but like
Uh,
we're
yes.
still like I'm going to play, and I know that the idea is that you haven't really fully broken progression at that point, but I just feel like there are some dogs that
No,
like,
I don't disagree.
sure, I would like to punish you for aggression when you're playing with someone, and then you go back
Mhm,
to playing. Love that. Very cool.
mhm.
Reconcile. Very cool. But I still want to see a regular like civil setup
Yes.
with no expectation that a
Yes.
tug is going to
Yes.
come out and it's
Yes.
like we have a problem. I have to negatively reinforce some
Mhm,
obedience that hey,
mhm.
you were supposed to down. Not like I take the pop and I go, you're
Yeah.
right, I'm supposed to wait for my ball. It's like I take the pop because I'm trying to escape and avoid,
Mhm,
and that's the only expectation.
mhm,
Is just that I
mhm.
listen. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah, so I was about to say, oh, I have a counter argument after you're done with this, but it kind of actually is not so much a counter argument, and actually, I realized that one of the so like the breaking progression, I think, a similar thing happened. So like again, in my mind, it's kind of like step A, step B, but it's not so much like step 1, 2, 3. It's more like compartments. Like we are in a negative reinforcement event right now. So you
Yeah.
see this happen all the time where like healing's the easiest example because it's just a complex exercise that handlers struggle with. And the dog will be like, I don't know, foraging or something. And it's like, pop the dog back into position and then pay. But they go, pop, pop, pay. And it's like, whoa,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop, breathe, let the dog feel that they
Yeah.
are out of
Consequences right
pressure.
there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they are like, oh, okay, I have settled here. And then now, once you are in that behavior in a good mindset and not just like still in escape mode, now I
Yeah.
pop the ball to you. And
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, we had compartment A, compartment
Okay.
B. And when you blur those lines, and people do this all the time with punishment too, when you blur those two
Yeah.
lines together, now you create issues.
So
But
I
as long
have
as you
to. I
keep
have
those
to.
clear, yeah,
It's
go
your
ahead.
fault. It's your fault. I have to because I've never thought to like say this. I don't think until you just said that. I don't think I've ever wanted to say identify this and say this. Oh God. When we're doing
The hat adjustment.
oh my God, it's so frustrating. But that's why it's so frustrating.
Ah,
And like I can see it
yeah,
happen when you said the pop pop hey,
yes.
it makes me think about the bite suit aggression setups where people are like
Mm,
the dog goes off.
yes,
The
yes,
dog, we have a moment of like no selling. There's this
yes.
pause where mental faculties are taking
Yep,
place. The dog is
yep,
thinking about
yep.
what
What just
just
happened?
happened? Why did I do that? Why is there no reaction? Then,
Uh-huh.
hey, an invitation to play.
Yes,
It
yes.
is not what people think, where the dog's like, "Ruff!" Then they pull out a bite to
And the
tug,
dog
and
is
then
still in the same, yes,
they feed the bite with that, and then they're playing. That's not what
yes.
happens.
In its mind,
Ever,
the dog
ever,
is like, wow,
ever.
I've been a human and it was super.
Right. He's in the same again
Yeah,
progression.
didn't change anything. Yes,
That's
yes,
not that's
yes.
not what happens. If you
Yeah,
watch the dogs in my videos, they have clear moments of
correct,
self-reflection and sort
correct.
of
And
like
like decompression
self-awareness. Yeah,
switch. Yes,
right.
yes.
They're like if it's some sort of befuddlement or
Yep,
disappointment or whatever
yep,
happens where they're like,
yep,
and then we engage, we flip into let's
yep,
play, here's some
yep,
food, let's go for a walk. But it's never just like that
yep,
never,
yep,
oh, you bite me and then food comes out. That never
yep,
happens.
yep.
I-
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
it's no, I like it's exactly the same thing. Like once you start realizing, like, okay, we talk about breaking progression with punishment, then okay, where else does that, or even then I think about like J-Jack's windows, right? It's like, okay, this broad concept that is really beautiful for pet owners to live a good life with their dog, but then it's like, okay, this is actually okay, so like everything is fractal. Right? So like um the windows, right, apply to millisecond increments and then day long you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
can make the same framework apply to snapshots, to a whole training session, to a plan of training sessions over a month, to the, like so on, so on, so on. So then it's like, okay, what is the lesson here when we have to change the dog's mind? We can apply that same idea of, okay, we made an interrupter both for a negative consequence to the dog and a positive consequence to the dog, but
right.
also just like stop and think and breathe and like take a break
Right.
and
Slow
process
down.
it.
Slow
Yeah,
down.
and like
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it reminds me too of like the simultaneous conditioning plots and lure at the same time and pop at the
Yeah.
same time and everything at the same time, and people getting caught up in the idea that I have to make it look a particular way in order for the dog to perform a particular way every single time. It's like, no, let the dog think about it.
Right.
Um, and kind of like forgetting that, and again, like, I don't know, this, maybe it's like leftover from the behavioral like black box where like, oh, we can't know what's going on in a dog's head, therefore we just forget about it.
Right.
Um, but kind of this idea that like dogs don't need to think about it. And it's like, even if we think about ourselves, like imagine being taught in that way where you're being so rushed and can
Right.
never
Well,
stop and think and
I
take
think
a breath.
people are
And it's just like,
chasing
whoa.
the 1.4 seconds too, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Like,
which
oh,
again, what's
the
so funny
dog.
about that though is like that the 1.4 seconds isn't about like the speed. Like people take 1.4 seconds and they're like, oh, that must mean simultaneous. And it's like, no, 1.4 seconds is actually a very long time between A and B.
Right.
That is
Yeah, yeah,
click,
yeah.
treat. Like
Right,
that's
right,
how you
right.
make a conditioned association. And
Right,
even that,
right.
like that's not a hard and fast rule.
But
Obviously,
it's
all of
but
the
1.4 is ridiculous. I think it's upwards of like
yeah,
10 seconds.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
where a
Like
dog can
that's
make
not
it.
a hard and fast rule.
Like
But like,
you
okay,
never have a
the
dog
idea
like
is that the dog needs to think that action A caused action
right.
B.
But
And
you could
yeah,
condition a door knock
yes,
with knock 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 and then like fucking 30 seconds takes place and then a
yeah,
person comes through.
yeah. But it just
Like
has to be a
does
reliable
anyone
predictor.
disagree?
Yep.
Right. Does
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
disagree with that?
Yeah.
Does
Well,
everyone
okay,
go
so
knock 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 and then burst through the door in 1.4
right,
seconds? It doesn't fucking happen, dude.
right, right. But so what's funny about that though is I would much rather somebody count to let's be ridiculous. I would much rather somebody count to 30 going click and then pay their dog. If it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they count to 30 and then pay their dog rather than
Then
click 1.4 pay.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know what you mean.
Like
And
that
30
is
30 is
so
not
much more
optimal.
prone.
I'm not trying
No,
to say 30,
I know
you
what you're
say
saying. Yeah.
no and then
Yeah.
you count to 30 and you pop the
Yes.
leash. No, no, no. But
Yes.
like
Yeah.
the fear that the
Correct.
dog's
Correct.
attention span and
Is
ability
that
to
short?
understand like have causality links is so
Yes.
fleeting that we're just trying to like bang 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 food food food.
Yes.
It's like, dude,
Yes.
chill. So it's
Yeah.
so
And
annoying.
like salience matters and like all
Right,
this stuff.
right.
It's yeah, it's just not a hard and fast rule.
But you're it's like
But
having the interrupter, whatever it is,
mhm.
even just like a no cell interruption, where like the dog thinks this is going to keep going in some fashion and it doesn't.
Yep.
Allowing the dog to have a moment of like
Mhm.
awareness of what's
Mhm.
happening, of what he's doing, right? Like
Mhm.
where am I? Is this a reinforcement event? Oh, I'm supposed to be. You're right. I am supposed to be healing.
Yep.
Let me like
Yep. Get
commit to
back into
that
that. Yes. Yes. Commit to
with
it.
my full
Yes.
mental capacity instead of just this like twitchy like pain
Yes.
dive. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you want it to
Yeah.
be like oh no, I like a full.
I'm
That's
consciously
something.
making this
Yes,
decision to settle in here. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what's so fucking crazy too. Even with the just like the unga bunga mongoloid obedience that I teach,
Mhm.
by slowing everything down, like making
Yes.
the criteria like clearly enforced criteria, but
Yep.
like slowing everything down before just going pop 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 tap 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 pop pop tap tap tap, where like
Yep.
the dogs will they learn everything way faster with less
Yep.
physical force and
Yep.
they are more comfortable in the position. It's hard to
Yep.
explain, but like I've noticed more of like a lightness there too, where
Yeah.
like you do some sessions where you give them a chance to almost fix themselves even if you're
Mhm.
going to let it go versus
Yep.
just being because I was taught about it
Because
like
why wouldn't the dog do it the way we want him to do it? Because we've
right
set up all the variables that they will do it the way
right
we want them to do it. Like
right
that's what's
right
so wild to me is like, why would your dog not do this right now? Like
right
if you're
but let's
going,
say you
hey,
did
this gets you a penalty, this gets
right
you good things, let them figure that out. Let them think it through, see
but
the consequences clearly, and
if
then
you
they're going to do it. Like you
if you
don't have to
don't know how to
manhandle them into
utilize
it.
right but if you don't
Yeah.
know how to utilize punishment I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
why you're like well I can't let the dog make those like have
Well,
that
even
space
negative reinforcement though, right? It's like people get paranoid about I don't know. Okay, like if you reward and again this is more sports stuff, but like if you reward the dog for being crooked one time. So like let's say I'm teaching I don't know. The dog is like knows a finish from a front, but he's struggling if I ask for a finish from like angle off to the side in a down over here. I would absolutely pay a crooked finish because I know I can just go, oh, my dog knows how to respond to negative reinforcement to get back into the
yeah
heel position if I need to finish this later. Like you can go back and polish it. And it's like the dog is not going to be the dog is not, and maybe this is why people get scared of it, because they do plateau with just positive reinforcement and a lot of other stuff where the dogs become convinced that this is the correct behavior. But it's like, you can use super light negative reinforcement and just clarify for the dog that, hey, this isn't gonna work anymore for you, and they're like, okay, sweet, like this is how I get my
Right.
reward now. Like it's like
Yeah.
not a problem.
Right.
But like
Right.
it I think people are like, oh my gosh, I rewarded one incorrect repetition that's going to be cemented in the dog's head forever. And it's like, no,
Right.
like you said 2 + 2 was 10 when you were a toddler, and like we
Yeah.
don't think that anymore. It's fine.
Yeah. And you don't
Um,
you don't have to, like, I don't think that you have to be like me, where I'm like a negative reinforcement fundamentalist at this point. You don't have to be like that to understand and implement it in really
no,
effective
no,
ways that make everything so much more smooth.
yes,
Everything.
yeah,
Like you're saying, like maybe you use a very heavy positive reinforcement approach, but like we can use negative reinforcement to fucking like just
yep,
move tiny little things around and
yep,
make things easier for the dog
yep.
truly.
Once you use negative reinforcement well, the dogs are so, like, again, I'm especially thinking in the context of sport dogs, the dogs are
Yep.
so light to a touch. Like
Yeah,
it almost
yeah.
reminds me of good horse training, right? Where it's you can be so light, and the smallest shift
Right.
is going to have a huge effect. Like that's how the dogs start responding. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're only using, if you're like locking the dog onto the reward
Yeah.
and they're like,
Mm,
ah, and then you
right.
try to use negative reinforcement, it's like, yeah, you're gonna need to like manhandle the dog into
And
position.
yeah. And you're just
Yeah.
you're missing you're I know that I'm repeating myself, but it made me think of something from the workshop video that
Hmm.
I won't watch the working spots back because it's just like it's the first time I've ever trained dogs live in front of a crowd.
Yeah, no,
I've
I
trained
get
in
that.
front of like a live audience on a stream or something, but like being with a
People
dog that
eyeballs
doesn't know
watching you.
me, that doesn't know me, a person,
Yeah.
an owner that doesn't know me, and like I'm trying to teach the dog how to play and like do things
Yep.
and answer questions. It's just whatever. But there was
No,
one
it's different.
dog
Yeah.
where I watched the sessions because there was a moment that took place where in the moment I was thinking, if this gets recorded and published, I pray to God this shows up well on camera, and it
Yeah.
did.
Nice.
Where I introduced in the same session where the dog is playing for the first time in his life, practically, I think like 1.5 or second time in his life, negative
Yeah.
reinforcement and positive punishment. And to get him to out, right? To get him to
Hmm.
out. And he was learning the out, and I transitioned to I could tell he was just committed to not listening, and I switched
Hmm.
to positive punishment, and the crowd
Yeah.
literally gasped at how little I was having to do, but you could probably get a faster out by ball trading, but you would have missed the moment that the dog and I
Yes.
had that is
Yes.
right set on the shot in the shot. Like
And
it's
people even
worth
do
getting
ball
this
trading wrong.
right. Well, so
It's a whole other rabbit hole, but
I don't
they
think there's
go
a right
out.
way to do it. Yeah, I
No, well,
so
there is a right way to do it. If you go
fucking.
out, pause. Okay, now I'm reinforcing the actual
Oh, I see what you're
sitting
saying.
of the, you know
I
what I
see what
mean?
you're saying.
Rather
But
than just like,
that's not even
it's
really
what you're
ball
talking about with
trading
the
at that
bites. Yeah.
point. Yeah, it's
No,
not even really
yeah,
ball trading.
yeah.
Like in the way
Well,
that
to be
people
fair.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
it is
yeah.
technically, um, but like the moment that the dog and I have from a little pop on the leash and that
Mhm,
break of progression, where I'm
yep,
like, dude, come on, you
mhm,
can't you you can't do that with with any reward. It's never
no,
going to happen. It's
no,
never going to fucking happen, dude. And I always bring it back to my little niche fucking schizoid world of behavioral mod where the stakes
yeah,
are ridiculous. We can't afford to be sending dogs home that are
mhm,
little treat gremlins that
yep,
are just like feed me, fuck you, where's my treat? Like you can't
yep,
and then the dog goes to do something dumb and the owner goes, "Wait, stop." And the dog goes, "You don't have fucking shit for me. I
mhm.
don't care."
Why would
Then
I?
the owner
Yep,
tries to stop him again and the dog turns around and attacks him. And then
yep,
everyone goes, "What happened?"
yep,
It was positive reinforcement. It
yep,
was the trainer being back in his facility. Look, the dog has a fancy finish. Look, I can send him
mhm,
to his bed. And the dog is just thinking in his head, I will play your little game if the
yep,
cookies keep coming. but you're
but
not
you
getting
never
control.
actually,
You're not
yeah.
achieving
You
that
never
that
push the emotional
clarity.
spectrum into any frustration that he has to deal with. And
Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. And even if you take the step to truly take the muzzle off and
Mhm.
try to run these little social scenarios, you're still just deflecting the dog's attention back to your hoodie pocket where he knows the food's going to be coming. You're not
Mhm.
actually putting the dog in a
Mhm.
situation where he may attempt to engage with somebody.
Yep. Yep.
Because like the dog's on his place board looking at you while the stranger
Yep.
walks by and you go, "Look, we fixed the aggression. Why don't you leave the room and have the stranger in here? Now there's no treat donkey. The fuck's gonna
Mhm.
happen? It's gonna be a fucking
Mhm.
nightmare." And everyone knows it's
Mhm.
gonna be a nightmare. So that is what, for me, I see
Yeah.
people doing with food that
Yeah.
drives me insane.
And again, it's funny to me
And
because I'm like, it's not food. That's just bad dog
it's
training.
right. Like
But yeah,
in your dimension, food doesn't get used like that. Probably not.
it
In major
can.
ways
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
in the pet world, that is the default. It's
Yeah,
actually just
and
how you're
again, in
taught to do
sport
it.
dogs, like the consequences are obviously not as devastating. It's like
Right.
to me, your dog looks a little like meh, could be better. And like
Right.
if I were a judge on the competition field, I'd be like, I'm gonna, say it's
Right.
lacking the emotion that I want to see from a
Right.
working dog, but like that's it.
Right. Right.
I'm not a judge,
But
so you don't have to worry about my opinion.
but the
So
stakes in like this little, the day to day planet day to day is
yes,
that
yeah,
grandma goes to shoo the dog off the couch and he's never been submitted before. He's
yes,
never felt
yes,
submission. He's never
yep,
felt acceptance. And he goes, "I'm
yep.
gonna fucking kill you, dude. How
How
dare you?
dare you?
Who are you talking to?" Like
Yep,
that's positive reinforcement creates
yes.
tyrannical, out of control dogs. Just does.
No,
Open
very
to being
powerful,
wrong.
very pushy dogs that
Right.
absolutely will use their teeth to get their way when they're frustrated.
And not pushy in an honest, cooperative, dude,
No, no,
dad, let's
no,
go
in
do
a like,
something way.
"You owe
Pushy
me"
in a no, give
entitled
me now.
way.
Right, give me now.
Yes,
And you
yes,
did that
and
to
I
the
will
dog.
escalate until you do. Yep.
And you
Which
did that to him.
owners will perpetuate that through no
Yes.
fault of their own, but what are they gonna do when the dog
Survival.
is screaming at
Survival.
them?
This is oh my god. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna freak
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna freak
Yeah,
out. I'm gonna
yeah,
freak out. I have again, it's an entire video. I'm not showing the Patreon, but just one of the major points that I make in there is that dog owners that are scared of their dogs and they're having trouble, they are running food avoidance programs to survive. That's
yes.
already what they're fucking
Yep.
doing. They just don't
They
have
have
the
to give the
positions.
sacrifice to their dog.
They just don't have the
Yes.
positions. They're doing it as a survival mechanism, which is actually more intelligent than what the trainer's doing because the trainer's supposed to be the pro. They're just trying to get by without having to have their dog put down and without
Yep,
getting
they're
fucking
just
ripped to
feeding the
pieces.
dragon.
But
Yeah.
but what you are doing when you take that dog in, it's like, well, we're going to avoid pushing his buttons. That's what they're
Mhm.
doing.
Yep.
We're going to pay him for not attacking. That's what they're doing. Oh,
Mhm.
we're getting up into his space. I can feel it getting tense. We're going to toss food away and relieve the pressure.
Mhm.
That's what they're doing. Like fucking, and they're not being charged $10,000 to do that. They're
Yeah,
doing that
yeah.
just to
They
live.
figured that out on their own.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
right. It's so frustrating. So
Um, yeah,
I can't help but associate that with food because
yeah, yeah. No, I
that's
get
just
it.
what
I get it.
happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because, like, I think it is again one of those things where it's like it's a reaction to bad dog training, and it's
Right.
like okay, like just peel that layer back and examine it a
Yeah.
little bit more. But something I wrote down that I want to say real quick that I forgot what actually made me think of it. But like back to that interruption idea. Oh, because I think I was just talking about how dogs will get like glazed over by, like they stop feeling negative reinforcement or any
Yeah.
aversive, whatever you're trying to do. If you have a very high drive dog and there's food or a toy that they believe is accessible, they just eat everything. Um, Pinch collar, e-collar, whatever. Just gonna eat corrections. One of the things that like I really I think is it's really interesting to see people do it because I think it's kind of revealing of how subtle this stuff is, but also like how much I get into the window that I'm asking the dog to be in, into like the compartment, right? Of like, we are in a punishment event right now. So like it'll happen a lot of times that like, or not a lot of times, but like one of the scenarios is like, I told the dog to take this toy from me and he went and took the bite roll on the ground. Like we're practicing decoy neutrality, whatever. He goes and takes the bite roll on the takes the white roll on the ground. We mark it, go punish, but by that point the dog has already gotten the toy in its mouth, so we have to interrupt it. Toy
Mhm.
comes out of the mouth, move the dog away, whatever. And I'll usually have people like a little bit negative punishment events of like, hey, go leave the dog over there, turn your back, you broke the game kind of thing. Um, and everybody wants to go pick up the toy and put it back in their
Oh,
pocket. And you
yeah.
instantly see
Mm.
the dog
You
switch
shatter
right
it.
back
Yeah, you
into
shatter it. Yes,
compartment of
yes,
positive
yes.
reinforcement. And I'm like, stop it.
Mm.
It's like,
Yeah.
everything was perfect up to that point. And
Yeah.
they're like, I'm just going to pick this up. It's a meaningless object to the dog. And it's like, no, no, no. That's such a
Yeah.
powerful signal to the dog that we
Wow.
are back
Yeah.
in the hope of reinforcement. And it's just like, it's so funny because it's happened like so many. I even had a lesson client that like, I have Benabones just like laying around the facility. And the dog was like crazy, like really nice lab. Dog was obsessed with the Benabone. And I was showing her how to punish. The dog is just like unhinged. And it jumps like crazy. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna punish this. Show her how to do that. And she did it beautifully. And then for whatever reason, just like, oh, I think as she was going to punish, she like said no and then was going to grab the dog, and he's like, oh sweet, I'm just gonna grab a Benabone. He just like didn't
Yeah.
know what was going
Yeah.
on yet, that he was in trouble. And she like took the Benabone out of his mouth and threw it
Put it in her
away.
pocket. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like threw it. I was
Yeah.
like, Dad.
Yeah.
Because it was like
Yeah.
so good up until then, and I'm like, fuck, we gotta
So
do this all over again.
okay. So
But
yeah.
it's just kind of funny because it's like it's one of those small things where like you just got to think about, like you see the dog's eyes and it's so obvious, but people
Right.
just don't see that because they're not
Yeah.
focused on the dog anymore. They're like turning away. They think the dog is in their timeout, and it's like, no, he actually thinks he's in a down now, dude.
All right. So funny. This is so fucking funny. And it's another one of these things that you say that like I've seen and been part of, but wouldn't think to talk
Yeah.
about. Trying to coach a client to mark with no
Mhm.
and like drop the toy in a way that is like a
Yes,
set
we're done.
down.
Yes,
Like, but in
yes.
a manner that is very
Not prey, not
disappointed,
exciting.
like almost like
Yes,
it's not alive.
yes,
I've
yes.
had
That's
I
dead
had a
to us.
client, like I'm trying to coach a client through that, and she timed the no and like gave it in a good way, and then she threw the frisbee like it was a frisbee.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, yo, like, and I get it.
Yeah.
Like if the condition punisher is strong in the way that it should be,
Yes.
technically technically that shouldn't
Yes.
have that big of an impact.
Yes.
But it was an early
I can do that
on,
with my dog. You can't do
right,
your
right,
dog right
early
now.
on lesson, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
that anyways because that's just really
No, it's not
bizarre.
ideal. It's not
But
ideal.
oh my god, that's such an interesting one.
Yeah.
Like
Well, and it's
how,
to that thing of like I act with my dog in that moment. Like it literally is like I'm putting on the show of I
yeah,
am disappointed. And people just have a really
right,
hard time doing that, like getting
yeah.
into
There's got to be
the
more shit
mindset
going
of like
on.
I need to show.
Truly, you're right. There's got to be more shit going on, like you're saying, where like when I'm playing, I'm not consciously thinking about every way that I'm
Yep. Yep.
moving.
Yep.
And then when I mark with no and I drop the toy, all of those unconscious sort of
Just yeah.
like gaming movements
Yes.
disappear. So it's like
Yes.
a full package of like
Yes.
on
This
off
picture
versus just the
completely shifts.
toy versus just the
Correct.
toy. Whereas like
Like,
when
I
you get a
stopped
client,
stalking, I stopped
right.
being all, like, twitchy. Yep,
Right,
yep,
because like and that it makes sense because the client is really goofy with it, say at this point at the
yes.
beginning, so that when they try to bail the toy, the dog's just like, but when you
Yep.
do it, the dog's like,
Oh, fuck. Yep, yep,
oh, like
yep,
they just know. That's such an
yep.
interesting. That
Yeah,
actually is making me want to go back and watch that clip from the workshop again because I
yeah.
bailed the toy and
Well,
the dog doesn't
and
even
this is
think about looking at it.
no, no, and this is a big thing. So, like, you've made the comment before where you, like, sit awake at night thinking about dog training. Um, and, like, you think about the dogs. My like, obsession right now, or what I get stuck on, is coaching the clients.
Mhm.
Because it's like all these little things that you start to notice. Because you coach 5 people on the same exact thing and they all do the same exact thing, and you're like, oh, this is something.
Right.
And like you start picking out those little things of like, okay, I need to be prepared to talk about this in this way. I don't know. It's very interesting. Like once you get into the realm of, especially clients that like obviously you work a ton with pet owners, but like sport level kind of stuff where it's like, no, I actually need to teach you to be a dog trainer and
Right.
not just exist this with this one dog.
But
It starts to
that
get
was
really
interesting.
interesting.
That
Yeah.
was what was bizarre for the workshop working spots. Some of the
Yeah.
people were dog trainers.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was
True.
like, I've never,
Yeah.
you do that all the time, like
Yeah.
casually.
Yeah.
I had to be like, like in front of a crowd of
Yeah.
people, like, yo,
Yeah.
dude, like you don't know how to play with dogs, dude.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like,
No,
but like not
yeah.
literally, and it wasn't like that bad, but like that's an extreme example. But
Right. But no, like it
you deal
is.
with an entire demographic that's totally different than mine,
Yeah.
and
But like
you deal
there's
with mine
so many
too.
sport handlers that don't know how to play with dogs like that. Like
Yeah.
people have a hard time. I mean, like we're bringing Jay Jacob in December, and it's like there's he's hugely popular because he's really good at teaching people how to play with dogs. Like that's a market that like
It's
needs
necessary.
assistance, you know?
Someone has to do it.
Yeah,
Somebody has
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy difficult. Like I will go to that seminar being like, I'm watching Jay coach people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like
Right. Right.
there's so much stuff that just getting people to open up in that way and
Well,
then
back to the
think
food.
about what they're doing, but not
It's
think
your
so
food,
hard that they come out of
Kimberly. It's
play.
your
And it's just
food.
like,
It's your
yeah.
food, Kimberly. It's your food. It's the food
What do
you're
you mean?
standing up for. The food teaches trainers how to not play with dogs, in my opinion.
Oh,
So when
yeah.
you see people that train with food try to train with play, they
Yes.
play as if they are using food.
Transactional. Yeah. Yeah.
And it
No,
is
yes.
gross. And it
That's
feels
definitely a subset. There's also a
this
subset of people. I think society just squashes adults being playful, which
expression.
is
Yeah, 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 yeah,
sad.
yeah.
But
Sure, sure, sure.
yes,
I
there's a
agree.
whole
I
facet of
agree.
that.
I
That's more so
agree.
what you see with sport people because they're already bought into the idea of being fun with their dogs, but then they're
Right.
like, oh my gosh, I'm standing in front of a bunch of people and now I have stage fright at
Yes.
club and like that kind
Yes.
of shit. But yes,
And
yes.
also to be consistent here, I think that large swaths of the balanced community have largely pushed for a time a stern sort of like
Yes.
leadership
Yes.
structure attitude
In a very militant.
that is not congruent with getting on the ground and rolling in the
No.
dirt and like
No.
kicking a ball and chasing it
No.
with the dog and like playing tug and poking him in the
Yep.
butt and things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I totally,
Yep.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like you could never act like an equal to the dog. Like that would be
Right, 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 right,
yeah,
right. Well,
yeah,
that's the dog's ability to understand context. Someone asked me the other
100%.
day actually about the difference. Like, what do you see as like the major? If you had to say one thing about training with food versus training with play, I don't know why I didn't
Mm,
think of this earlier. Is that
yeah.
people look at training with food again? It is just transactional,
Yes.
mechanical,
Yes.
math problems. We're
Yes.
trying to achieve a position, blah blah blah. Whereas play, when it is actually understood, is a state that is
Yes.
entered. The
Yeah.
dog and the person enter a state. It is
Yep.
not like a means of reward. It can
Yep.
be in that state, and it often is, but it
Yep.
is more of we are entering a contextual agreement that we're
Yep.
both going to be fucking retarded together right now. And it's
We're
in
on
the
a football
way
field.
that
Yep.
we are uniquely retarded with each other. But that does not mean that when you go inside,
Correct.
because your dog was jumping on you and
Correct.
doing personal play, that he's never going to listen to you again, which is sort of like the balanced sort of like old school
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Okay. Okay. I got a comment that, and we can get going. I know we've been going for a really long time.
Yeah, no, it's
I got a
okay.
comment from someone that, like, it's not a bad person. It's someone that comments frequently, and it's totally cool, like civil, disagrees, totally cool. But
Yeah.
the commenter, I posted the clip of Ollie and his owner reuniting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of threads and things going on where this dog, he didn't actually, Ollie's previous extreme aggression to strangers, I think, has actually reduced his cognitive capacity or willingness to try to identify people at range. He just sees human bodies approaching and starts to go to a dark
Yes.
place. So
Yes.
he didn't recognize Dad until he got up to him and sniffed him, which is
Yeah.
an insane check. Because I told the guy after, I was like, he was like, dude, I don't think he knew who I was for a few
Yeah.
seconds. I was like, there was a non-zero chance he would have bitten you, by the way.
Yeah.
If we had done this like 4 weeks ago, you would have been bitten. Anyways,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have been personal. But anyways, the
No,
point of it
no.
was that he realizes that it's dad, and then they're on the ground rolling around together. And
Yeah.
this commenter was like, "You really are going to allow that type of interaction?
Interesting.
You mean the dog that just went through like a life-changing
Yeah.
program that hasn't seen his best friend in 2 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
is
And we're gonna
happy to
restrict
see
that.
him, and they're going to roll in the dirt together for like
Mhm.
30 seconds,
Mhm.
and you're not."
Also, good fucking luck, like, trying to stop that anyway.
I used
So
to. I was
Yeah.
taught to try to stop that, and then
Yeah.
I stopped
Yeah.
stopping it because, like, number one, this is
Yeah.
cruel, and number
Yes.
two, how are you going to enforce anything with the dog being in this state
No.
right now? He just wants
No.
to see his owners.
Yeah.
Like, leave him
It's yeah.
alone. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that just, but that
Yeah.
was kind of like the thing about
No, it
like
is interesting. Yep.
the
Yep.
sort of the balanced,
It feels
like
wrong. Yeah.
the guys, living out in the woods that,
Yep.
they have a white beard that goes to the floor, and
Yes.
they have a pack of German shepherds that they train telepathically, and
Yes.
like all these guys that, like,
They bit all their ears as puppies and
yeah, and
absolutely rolled them.
right,
Yeah.
and like they go to the door and they them, and like,
Yeah.
oh, like all that type of shit. They would
Yeah.
say, wow, you let that happen, he's going to go back to killing people. And hilariously, totally unscripted, kind of, I wouldn't have wanted this to go this way.
Yeah.
After they have their little wrestling match, a disc golf player comes over and goes, "Can I say hi to your dog?" And the owner turns and looks at me, and I have to be like
It's totally right.
but like if I was alone, I would have been like, "Hey, dude, he doesn't like being pat, like blah blah blah, whatever."
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
we run it because I know it's going to be fine. But like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
owner's here, and they,
Yeah.
whatever, and it went really well.
Nice.
So yeah, I just you can be goofy with a dog in certain
Yes.
contexts, and then
Yeah.
in another context where it's like he bites somebody,
Yep.
and you give a clear moment of feedback, he's not going to turn around and go, "Dad." It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. If that happened, you have worse going on than playing and
100%.
wrestling with the dog.
100%. And in fact, you're probably not played super correctly. You should probably fix your play.
Right.
And that will go better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
I had to pop off.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's it is an interesting, like, dichotomy of, like, again, it's the same thing of, like, everything's fractal, blah blah blah. It's all the same. The spectrum of force free and balanced,
Yeah.
they look like they're in complete opposition, but they're doing actually the same thing of, like,
Extremely similar.
restriction
Right.
and suppression and
Yes.
disallowing dogs to be dogs, but they
Yes.
think that they're fatal enemies, and it's like, no,
Right.
actually, like,
Right.
there's this third option of actually
Right.
just treating dogs like dogs and communicating well
Right.
with them, and
Right.
everything's fine.
It's just that with like the extreme examples, the balance is still better because
Yeah,
at least you have control over the dog.
yeah,
And
the
like
risks are less,
a lot less. A lot
yeah,
less.
yeah,
And also too,
less
like
impactful.
if you're going to be squashing a dog like that has behavioral issues,
Yeah.
if he's weak enough, maybe he won't bite anybody anymore.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
just not going to be happy, but at least he gets to
no,
live. Like
correct,
and maybe
correct.
he has some moments in life that are happy and worth living for. Whereas like with the force free, like they just will actually just kill the dog.
Yeah,
Oh, you're being hyperbolic. Okay, the very cool,
yeah,
cool story.
yeah,
I have some bad news for you.
yeah,
But you it's horseshoe theory comes to mind, where it's like they both come to the tip of the horseshoe,
yes,
where they both agree to not allow the dog to make choices, like
correct.
you said. That's ultimately what ends up happening.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
yep, yep.
Whether it's through
Restriction,
avoidance
correct.
and redirection, or it's through just
Tricks of
like
manipulation.
being mean, right?
Yeah,
And being
yeah, yeah, yeah,
authoritarian.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that was a good one. I should probably wrap it.
Yeah. That was fun. But you kept bringing something up, and it triggered my autism, and I was like,
No, I
whatever.
know.
It's like,
No,
oh
that
my
was a
God, I
good
have
one.
to talk about that. I guess that's why it's like potentially a good show. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because like we just
yeah,
it keeps it going.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
this is a good one.
Sweet. All right.
Peace.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. We are now on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Very professional.
Only the most professional.
Yes. All right.
You know what
Talk
it
to you
is.
guys later. Bye.
Peace.